All right, we should be live.
Yes, very good.
All right.
Welkom is mijn podcast.
So, I have another one that is going to lead the podcast
Yes,
and the live stream.
Begin de
Start it up.
Yeah.
Yep.
You ready?
I hope so.
Okay.
I hope the people are ready.
Aloha and welcome bij. Well, ik was al in. I started already in Dutch, so let's do it again. Aloha and welcome to Jorim and Company.
So it's the first time that we're going to do this
It's
during
the
a live
first
stream.
Yeah, it's the first time we do it in a live stream. So welcome to the audience of YB Plays Music on his YouTube channel. It's the first time I do the podcast in English.
Too. That's
Yeah.
gonna be weird.
A lot of first times here. It's not the first time we do the podcast about Hawaii because last week we've been here 3 hours recording the Dutch version,
Yeah, and then afterwards, like
The
the
shorter
highlights. So
which was still an hour. So we talked about this subject quite a bit. So we might be more structured in the English version. I hope so.
I hope so. And I'm gonna just say a couple of things, guys. So this live stream will not be for reactions. So don't give me suggestions for reactions today. If you have any questions, you can give super chats, and I'll try to answer that as well as we can. But otherwise, we will just talk like we have planned to do.
So yeah, this will be about Hawaii because that's where we went last summer.
Yeah. For like 3.5 weeks, we've been
Yeah.
in Hawaii.
And how long did you dream about going there?
Like for at least 2 or 3 years. Cause
He had to literally drag my ass there.
yeah, I already knew like it was super beautiful from the start because I looked up a couple of places from there, saw a lot of beautiful videos and pictures, and yeah, it just was on my bucket lists on the top there, and like I just. I don't know. I tried to convince you, and you were not really convinced at first. Although our other buddy Wolf was convinced too to go, and even though he was not with us, I'm sure he would have loved it.
Yeah, because he still said to me, I feel bad that I couldn't join, but
It's too bad. Like,
well,
yeah.
you need a lot of money if you go
Yeah,
there.
like, hi there, Lisa. Welcome, guys. Like some of you people already have seen Jorim, have seen Wolf. On some reactions, but this is a totally different setup. So yeah, I would like to go on a journey with Wolf again as well. So and that's
Next
the
summer.
plan. And it will be a bit closer to home. But so yeah, let's start about
Hawaii.
Hawaii.
It started off in the airport, actually.
Yeah. So it was a very eventful journey.
Yeah,
Let's say
for
that.
sure.
And like, there's no big journey if you haven't like lost or forgotten something. There's
If you
always
don't have
something,
struggles, you're not traveling right.
and we always have.
And it started
We
with
always have.
a little fine croissant at Chaleur. No, at Zaventem. I do it again.
Yeah, you're doing it again.
At
So,
Zaventem.
yeah, we left Belgium the 14th of July for Hawaii. And like usual, you go to the check-in, you deliver your luggage. And afterwards, it was really early in the morning here in Belgium. So afterwards, we went for breakfast
Mhm.
because you wanted a croissant.
Of course.
So we went to eat something, and I was in front of you, and I was searching for my credit cards, and I didn't find them. So my only hope was that they were in my check-in luggage.
It was my hope too, because I didn't want to be a sugar daddy the whole trip.
Yeah.
Too bad.
You were kind of. So and so I had to wait until we were in Seattle
Mhm.
in a transfer flight to check my luggage if it was in there, and it was not. So that was a very stressful start of the journey,
Mhm.
and like a lot of questions like, what is going to happen? Is everything going to be all right? But like we've discussed before, a lot of these problems that we had, at a certain point you think like, okay, we just have to find solutions for this. It's a bummer, but there's always a solution.
Yeah, for sure. And like you said, we stopped in Seattle. I still love it. It's still in my memory to go there.
I mean, we haven't been to Seattle itself, but still,
the airport is super cute. One of the best airports I've seen in my little life so
I mean,
far.
and there were some nice views from the airport as well, so it's really appealing to go to
So
Seattle.
Don't be
sometime.
surprised if you see a live stream later on about Seattle in a few years.
Oh my, in a few years, yeah. Have a little patience.
But then, we traveled. We took the last flight. It was only 6 more hours of flying because the whole trip takes like 1 day of being in an airplane. Of
Yeah,
course.
it was like over a full day of traveling total.
But
to
to my
Hawaii.
surprise, I was not too worn
It, went
out
o-
about it.
it was okay actually.
okay.
Like going is most of the times is easier because you're returning back. You're turning back in time.
Mhm.
But going back most of the times is harder. Although I don't think we had a lot of problems going back to Belgium
that's
either.
fine.
You did
Maybe
a bit.
because I've been very tired the weeks after, but that might be because I did a festival and other stuff.
Oh
as
yeah,
well.
because the
But,
combination perhaps. Well, so
I don't know. Going there, it was
was
pretty fun.
okay.
It's just weird that you see these time zones changing, and you're like, we've been up all day, and it's still only 12 in the afternoon, and we've been flying for a whole day already. What is going on?
like not even half an hour ago when you were like writing down everything that we were going to talk about, we were looking like, what time was it in Hawaii? And you said like, that event was on the 1st of August. I was like, on checking my emails, I was like, no, that was on the 31st of July. You were like, but in Belgium it was the 1st of August.
Still
Because it was a 12-hour difference, so
But
that's
if
kind
you
of
travel
confusing.
somewhere far and you can have the 12-hour difference, that's actually good because then it's easy to communicate and to know where the people in Belgium are at that time.
Yeah,
'cause you
it's
just have to flip
easy
the
because you just turn PM into AM and vice versa. So yeah,
But luckily, after all that flying and stuff, we landed in Honolulu. Our first stop is the island of Oahu.
most visited
yeah.
one, I think. Yeah,
We booked in a hostel because if we travel, we always try to look where we can cut costs and what we find important. Luxury sleeping is not really our biggest importance.
it's not really our priority, no.
So because a lot of people go to Hawaii to see the resorts, we were not planning on doing that. And there we stayed in the Polynesian hostel. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was the cheapest option basically, and just
Let's start with the positives.
like no, let me
very-
just
yeah.
first say that all the accommodation that we booked was with a low budget in mind, even though if we wanted we could go lower budget and get a camper or just backpack and travel with a tent, but we did not do that.
Yeah,
But
because
aside
I
from
don't
that, it
need
was
the luxury, but I do need a bed.
you need a
But-
bit of the
Yeah.
basic comforts.
Basic.
So we did stay in a room every night basically. So yeah, Polynesian hostel.
Very
Well,
close to the main beach.
very-
Very close to everything.
the
actually.
location is super good. In the sense that you're close to everything in Honolulu basically. I mean everything, like the main things. So in that sense it was okay, but a couple of things were a bit annoying, and part of it is because I didn't have my credit cards with me, and they didn't have contactless payment. So we had to find a solution, and it was a bit of search and a bit of a struggle the first night, the first day, because I didn't have my credit cards. You had a credit card, but it
Mine
didn't
worked
work.
once because America.
Yeah, so at the beginning we didn't have any way to pay. So eventually it did work out for that. But the other annoyance was that every morning at 4 a.m. The garbage truck came by to empty every trash, all the trash cans. And that was everybody was awake, 'cause in our rooms they opened the windows every night just because there was
too hot,
no air conditioning, and they had to make sure there was enough of fresh air for the ventilators. And that's good, but everybody was awake at 4 a.m. So, and yeah, certainly like you need your sleep sometimes,
Yeah, sure.
and
But,
that can have its toll. So,
Because the other part about Hawaii is it gets dark very early in comparison to Belgium and Europe. So the one thing that was positive about that, because you always have to flip it to something positive, right? Is that you kind of change when you go to bed, and you can go a bit earlier to bed because it's dark at 7. So your mind is like, oh,
time to go to bed.
time to go to bed.
Yeah.
So that's fine. And then you sleep earlier and you wake up earlier. That makes you do more in a day. But it's not ideal, of course, waking up at 4, and especially if it's not your choice per se.
Yeah, it was not a
But,
decision.
like-
Like if you choose to go and see a
Yeah.
sunrise, you can decide, okay, we're gonna go to
Up
bed
early.
early. But if you're not prepared, I mean, we were kind of prepared after a couple of days because we noticed it the first
Yeah.
couple of days. So yeah, I went for a run at 4 a.m., 4:30 in the morning, and we had a nice sunrise. But yeah, that was that was the most annoying thing probably from the Polynesian hostel in Honolulu. On the other islands, that was not a problem whatsoever.
No. And we went back there at the end, but we will tell it then. And then we had a private room, and it was much better already. And the one thing I will add about the hostel, because they have a pretty cool staff. So
But it was pretty primitive and
Yep.
not the cleanest
yeah,
I've seen. But
okay.
it was alright. It was alright.
The first thing you wanted to do blew my mind. You wanted to go to Denny's.
So yeah, for the people that don't know, the Hawaii is part of the United States. So a lot of the fast food chains are also there, and Dennis is one of them. And we have been to the United States 6 years ago, and I remember that Dennis was one of my favorite places to go to eat, because it's not your
Typical
average
food.
fast food chain in the sense that you have the burgers, the fries, and such, which you have in McDonald's, you have it in Burger King, you have it in
In-N-Out Burger.
In-N-Out Burger, whatever.
All
So
those places.
everything is burger and fries. But in Dennis, you have a lot of different options, and I liked it there. So we went to eat there a couple of times.
Yeah, you dragged me there.
Yeah, against your will, you know.
I was like, let's do a food truck. No, we go to Dennis tonight. But hey, if you love it, it's fine. Afterwards, the 2 mornings after, you did your morning run.
It went okay. It went okay until somebody stopped me.
We actually both had the morning the same idea of let's do something productive. I'm awake, so I was like, let me find a spot to visit. And there was a lighthouse. I didn't know what it was, but I just started walking there. And then this cute boy came running to me, all sweaty. I was like, hey, do you want to go to my spot?
I was like, okay, I'll
Yeah,
quit.
let's join.
I'll quit my run.
We did see the lighthouse, not impressive, but then there was a little beach there that was pretty cool. I don't know the name anymore, but it was.
I don't remember.
But it's close. It's so
It was-
you have the.
It
the
was
volcano
on a
thing.
it was on a hill, right? It was next to Diamond Head, I
Yeah,
think.
so it's Diamond Head Beach, not each, but something like Diamond Head Beach.
It was near Diamond Head,
Yeah.
a beach near Diamond Head, in Honolulu.
Actually,
so.
it's cool spot for sunrise.
It was
I like it,
okay.
yeah.
It was okay for the first one. It was okay.
But then we did oh no, not then. First we did Manoa Falls.
It was a nice view going to Manoa Falls, and I think the way to Manoa Falls was prettier than the waterfall itself at the point in time that we went. Because when we arrived, there was not too much water flowing down.
It's a very interesting place, and it was the first time we got to see Hawaii. Why you wanted to go to Hawaii?
Yeah, a bit of the nature
Yeah.
side of it.
So actually, there's you go to the entrance, you have to pay a little fee, I think, for the parking. I don't remember if that was the case, but I do think it is. Yeah,
Could
it
be,
was.
could
Yeah,
be,
so
could be, yeah.
You pay for parking, you park your car, obviously, and then there is this container.
Yeah, as like a tunnel to go
Yeah.
through.
And then you go through the container and you just get hit by the most amazing jungle view.
Yeah. You
That was
really
so cool.
feel like you're in the jungle right
And
there.
that for me was the cool thing about Manoa Falls.
Yeah, doing that hike and
a-
feeling like you're in the wilderness.
Yeah,
there.
such a pretty view. We took a couple of pictures there.
We did.
Mhm.
And at that point, actually, exactly. But then when we went on, it was kind of raining sometimes.
Mhm.
But when we arrived, it was like, it was not a big waterfall, but that also meant that it was easy to go underneath
yeah.
the waterfall. So in the water, you didn't do that. I did it. I did that. And I filmed a bit with my smartphone.
And the fun thing there was a lot
So-
of people wanted to go under the waterfall, but they didn't dare. And then you kind of said, "Hey, come on, it's super cool, do it."
Yeah.
And they were so happy about going
Yeah. It was cool, and
Yeah.
and I don't do that with all waterfalls, but like you're there.
If it's safe.
Yeah, it's if it's safe. There was just a lot of mosquitoes, so
Yeah.
I had a lot of mosquito bites afterwards,
I
but
was
it was
fine.
worth it. It was nice.
But the day after we did the beach day, which was actually the first real traveling day that we did.
The full travel
Yeah.
exploring day.
Yeah. So we started at sunrise, or we wanted to start at sunrise, and yeah, we did hit sunrise, and we hit it at Makapu Beach Park.
Yeah. Well, we first wanted to go to another place, Manoa Bay, to do sunrise because there is a snorkeling area there. But I didn't know that it only opens after sunrise. So we were searching for another spot, and then we came to that other beach, and that was a nice spot to have a sunrise. The first time I took the drone out and flew.
And
over
you
the
will
beach.
see. So he always makes a music video. It will only come out in 2 years, probably, knowing you. But if you see it in 2 years, remember what I say now. There is one tracking shot of us going in the water, and that's that beach, and it's super cool.
I hope it's in it.
I love that tracking shot. It will be in there. It's too good. I love
It will be. It will be. Yeah, and then we went. We returned a little bit for another spot, which was also really nice. You met a couple there that was about to marry, I think.
Yeah. So there was actually it was a blue hole first. So you have a viewpoint at the blue hole.
No, it was a blowhole.
Blowhole.
Yeah.
Blue hole will be later.
Yeah.
And then there was some off track that we saw. So if you see something off track and you think, might be fun, just do it. Don't be afraid.
But be careful.
Of-
Just
of
be
course.
alert.
Don't be like us.
always.
And there was like this, super cool cove, not a cave, but a cove, because I
You're
always-
learning.
So, yeah.
You're learning.
It's the the third podcast we do, so I get my terminology right. And yeah, there were a few people there, and there was one couple, of course, and I didn't explain it, but the first days we were at the beach, and I told you, hey, I want to do a few TikTok reels of me just approaching some strangers and taking cool videos, taking
pictures.
cool pictures of them, and you make the video. He was like, so should I just follow you? And I'm like, yeah, just follow me. I will explain everything to them, and then we actually met-
I was first like, okay, this is kind of awkward. I'm content creating right now. Sorry, guys. I thought like the people might have a feeling like, why is this guy filming? Like, I'm not gonna be on OnlyFans, am I?
But the thing is, people who do watch TikTok or Reels and watch a bit of content, they know the kind of videos.
Perhaps,
Especially
but I think here I'm not really used to that. But I think when you live in like more bigger cities, you see that more often, probably.
Probably. I might be biased because my algorithms tend to go to photography more.
Yeah.
So I
Makes
see them a
sense.
lot, and I know a lot of my colleagues have seen them as well. But that might be my influence. I don't know.
Probably.
So I know people do know these kind of videos already.
Yeah.
So that makes it easier for them. Oh yeah, it's that
I
kind
mean,
of thing.
certainly in the United States. I
Mhm.
mean,
For sure.
yeah.
So I was doing that already, and then there was a cute couple at the cove, and I was like, hey, do you want to pose a bit? Because actually they asked you to take a picture of them.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, they asked you, and you took some picture, and then was like, hey, my friend. Actually,
Oh yeah. That's right. Because I just took some pictures with their phone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you started taking pictures of them. So you took over.
And she was just one more photo shoot to become a model before I marry. That's cute.
Yeah, it was nice.
So
They
yeah,
were friendly.
now they are married because they were like, oh, we need to go, we need to get married. Pretty funny.
Was it that same day?
I think it was the next day, but they had to do
A
something
lot of
for the
preparations,
marriage
probably. Yeah.
that day,
Yeah.
at least.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. I can ask them, but I'm not sure. Afterwards, we went for a little drive. We did. Yeah, I needed to get coffee, so we first hit Target, and then we saw while driving. You were like,
Beach.
We will stop here. It looks cool.
Yeah. Well, first of all, guys, he always needs his morning coffee.
Yeah.
Certainly if he hasn't slept well.
I've been doing the mochas this summer.
The mocha
Mocha
tastes
is like a combination of chocolate milk and coffee. So it's actually dark chocolate milk and they add in coffee, like an espresso shot.
I'm not a coffee expert, so
So,
there you have it.
That was my summer drink. I got addicted by it. I don't know why.
Oh, I got addicted by Monster.
Yeah, for sure.
But
All the
yeah,
colors,
so on the way around Oahu, we're talking about the island of Oahu all of the time right now. We were driving around the whole island basically, and at a certain point, we were driving like really close to next to the sea. And I saw just on my right side that there was like a nice beach there. I was like, we should stop here, because there were first like some palm trees and some like grass fields, and then you could go straight to the beach after that. And I thought that was a nice spot, and
It was.
it was, but we didn't stay there for long.
I was about to take my book, and then you were.
Yeah, so we were about to sit there for a moment, but like because of like the day before, I believe, when I went for the morning run, and then we did a lot of walking that day as well. I had a lot of blisters on my feet, so and because of that, I really couldn't stand the sand going in those wounds. So I said like, bro, I'm sorry, but we need to go and get some band-aids for my feet. So we went to a Target, I believe, or
Food.
well, we first searched for some
Target, yeah.
for some other pharmacy or so.
I think it's called Food Planet. It's
it could be.
So it's if you go to Hawaii, it's like a big chain there, and it might be in America. I don't know. It's Food Market, Food Planet, something with food.
Yeah. That's right.
And they
that's
have
right.
a couple of like all over Hawaii. You can.
I
see a
forgot
few
the
of them.
name. I forgot the name.
Yeah, cool place. We had Hawaiian
Yeah,
barbecue
cool
there.
place. They have a lot of band-aids.
well, on the Oahu they had like all the fast food chains,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
they have their marketing, and then we had we were like, oh, Hawaiian barbecue.
It was like a small shopping
area. Yeah.
mall, kind of outdoors.
Nothing special, but here we are. But afterwards, something that is special. Shark's Cove. I love that little cute cove thing place.
Yeah, so we went further on, and the Shark's Cove was basically next to a beach, but like some coral rock kind of formations there, with some small pools in between that connected to the sea. And we stayed there for a while. It was super hot that day, or that moment as well. Yeah, it was nice to be there, but I just wish we had some swimming goggles with us, so that we could look under the water, because we couldn't. And apparently there were some sea turtles swimming not too far from us, but we had no idea.
Almost got crabbed.
You almost got crabbed. Grabbed by the crab.
Yeah.
So yeah, at a certain point he was like,
cool, by the way.
at a certain point he was like going into the water, and because of these rock formations, it's a good camouflage for these animals sometimes. And like you were getting pretty close there. I was like, dude, check, there's a crab. And
No, you were like, oh, go sit there, because it looked like a little throne.
Yeah.
They were like, no, don't do it.
And suddenly the crab moved, and he's like, ah!
That's my biggest scare of the whole trip, I feel.
It was just a little crab. But then we noticed there were multiple crabs there, so yeah. I mean, they're not harmful, but I mean,
Well, it would not have been
It was just a big. It was just a scare.
But really a lovely place. And so you have a big cove where all the people are, but if you go a bit to the side where we actually went, it's like smaller coves, and then you have like a private pool for you.
Yeah. We went a
That
bit
felt
off
that way,
because there were much bigger pools to the right from us, where there was a lot more people. And we always think like, is there another spot that we can go where there's no people? And a lot of the times we succeed in finding such a place.
Yeah, because afterwards we went to Keike Beach.
Say that again.
I had to look it up. It's Keike Beach. That actually was next to Shark's Cove. No people. And a long-ass beach.
Very long and a very wide beach.
And one of your favorites, I remember.
One of my favorites. Definitely my favorite from OAHU. And I liked it so much because like there were a couple of people, but you had like a whole space. Oh my god! Almost knocked my light out. So you had a whole space for yourself basically, and we stayed there for a long time. And we also got a surprise over there.
Yeah, that's the first time you noticed how indifferent the beaches are, like the sea is to who's sitting on the beach. Because they're like,
yeah,
we give you some short waves, but we will give you once in a while a very big wave.
How unpredictable the
Yeah,
sea is.
for sure.
And I mean, like I said before in the Dutch live stream, the Dutch podcast that we did, I don't go to the Belgian coasts often, and it has been too long since I've done that to know actually, but it did seem like it was much more unpredictable to see in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Because
Really?
all of the
There,
times.
and it's just like in Belgium, it just progressively gets a bit further, and you kind of can notice. But in Hawaii, every now and then you get like big waves hitting you, and you're like, whoa!
Yeah, out of
Let's put the
nowhere,
stuff further away.
nowhere, it suddenly came in, and we were just like playing cards. Suddenly, all the cards were gone.
Yeah.
We were like, oh my god. And luckily, my cards were water resistant, so it was not an issue, but it just was a matter of like finding all the cards because like we were thinking, are they underneath the sand? Like we were searching for a minute, but we did find them all. And it was a close call later on too, because like he said before, I always make a music video when we travel, and he's my main camera guy then when I am
Well, if you
like
only have one friend on your trip,
don't have a lot of options, or I have to set up a tripod or so. But yeah, so you were holding the gimbal with my camera on it, and we were like progressing on the coastline, but just in the water, like just on the waterline. But because of these unexpected waves, sometimes it can really be sketchy sometimes. And at one moment, like the wave came in, but when returning, you were like almost falling into the water. You were holding the gimbal like this, you getting all wet, but holding the gimbal up. I was like, oh my god, dude, thank you.
Priorities, man. Always save the gear first, and then save yourself.
So it did work out, but it was kind of stressful at times.
One more cool thing we did there. Well, cool. One thing you really wanted to do on the island was try dragon fruit.
Yes, indeed.
We also call it purple kiwi.
Purple kiwi.
Or pink kiwi.
I've heard of dragon fruit before, and the first time that I actually wanted to try it was actually because we were in a Starbucks and we saw the kind of smoothies, the smoothies that they have. And they had like mango, pineapple and such. I almost said ananas. And then one of them was also dragon fruit. And I chose that one and it was really good. So I thought like, I really want to try the dragon fruit itself. And because of some of the girls that you approached on the beach, we knew where they sold, where they sold these dragon fruits. And we didn't actually buy it there because we just happened to stumble upon it in a Target or in a Walmart.
Where you
was it the fruit market? Yeah. There we found the dragon fruit. So I bought one, and then on that beach, I sliced it open. It was like almost a sensual moment because I was laying down there on my side, just in my swimming trunks, opening that kiwi. I mean dragon fruit. So
Thank you.
it's a very exotic and very nice looking fruit, purple, pinkish kinda. But when you open it, it looks like kiwi, but purple instead of green. And the texture is also pretty much the same. It's just a little less sweet. And we didn't have it really cool. It was kind of.
So
I
if
was
it's
about to say room temperature, but room temperature in
the Hawaii.
room temperature in Hawaii is higher than in Belgium. So
Yeah, a bit more flat than a kiwi if
Yeah.
it's warm. We cannot say how it is when it's
I should try it
Chilled, yeah.
again when it's out of the refrigerator.
and
so.
it's a lot, right?
It's bigger.
Yeah.
It's big, a lot bigger. Yeah, it's a lot for one person. But yeah. So and then afterwards we wanted to do a sunset.
Yeah.
Talk about a special sunset.
So we had, I think we did 3 beaches before we decided on one.
Yeah.
We're like, no, this is not good.
We were really deciding which beach are we going to go to check the sunset, because I was actually planning to go a totally different one, a lot further away, but we were just not going to make it. So we decided a bit closer by, and one of the beaches that we went to was in that loop around. I forgot the name of it, but it was pretty well known because there were a lot of people there. So we decided to move further on. We parked in some kind of side lane, and there was a little path between some houses towards a beach. And we progressed to the left side of the beach, where there was a sign, "Marry me," because somebody apparently was about to do a proposal. And then further on, we started
Walking. And I was,
walking.
to be honest, I was very disappointed because the beach is called Papalao. So Papa and then the accent LLOA. And I was first disappointed because I was like, oh, this looks like crap. Well, it looks like every beach
Okay.
we have,
But not super
with,
special.
like a place that you can hit the sunset and how I had it envisioned.
Yeah.
But then luckily, something popped up.
Something popped up. You saw something.
I saw something on that beach.
Yeah, so we stumbled upon a sea turtle on the beach. So we missed them in the water earlier in Sharks Cove, but we did see them on the beach. And of course, there's not a lot of movement when they're on the beach. They're just sitting there. They're lying there like rocks, basically. And that you would miss them if you don't really pay attention. So there was one sea turtle there, and I was fully into the creature. I was constantly taking pictures, making some videos with it, some selfies. No, I didn't touch the sea turtle. Don't touch the sea turtles.
Do not. I was thinking that let's find my sunset spot because there were some palm trees in the back. So I was like, I'm gonna quickly check that spot out, see if I can take a cool sunset picture there. So I ran off, very disappointed again because apparently that place was
Private.
totally private property. I was like, oh, can this get any worse here at this beach? Well, it got better because of the sea turtle, of course. So I walked back a bit grumpy, and then suddenly, what the hell?
There's not one, but two sea turtles.
And I see Yuri with his camera,
Still
100 meters from me. I was like, Yuri, and he's not reacting at all to me because he's mesmerized by the one turtle there. I was like, but two is better. I need to get him. So I
Yuri,
do
Yuri.
a sprint all the way to him. I'm like, get your camera, get with me. There are two there. They're so cute. They were lying like a couple, very close to each other.
Yeah.
Just being perfect and not moving because they don't move.
Well, that's the handy thing. You don't have to
Yeah.
worry about them moving too much because they just stay there. But yeah, so I didn't first hear it, and just he came running towards me, and
the sunset will be over. I need to be fast.
yeah,
Just-
that's the thing. With with the sunset, if
Yeah.
it was any other moment, you would probably just walk because they don't move.
No. At all.
but the sun
Moves
goes
fast,
down
yeah.
quicker than the sea turtles.
Luckily, with sea turtles, you only there's only one shot you can take of them. Well, you can take multiple shots, but that will be your shot you take. Like if you photograph people at sunset, you want to try as much of poses, and then time goes really fast. So in my mind, sunsets goes over in like this,
Yeah.
and the shoot is over. And I'm like, oh, he needs to be fast.
But the sea turtles
Yeah.
stay in the same pose,
Yeah,
so
so
you
that's-
cannot let them pose.
But still, then it still goes faster, of course.
yeah.
But yeah, that was super cool to see, and one of my favorite photos of the whole trip I took there.
That was special, and
Yeah.
certainly because we were not really intentionally
Tracking it.
looking for sea turtles. Like I said, it is different when you're on purpose, purposely searching for sea turtles on a beach that is known for them. That's different, because I don't know if it was known for that. It didn't really say on Google Maps or whatever, so we were not aware of that. So I guess we were lucky.
We were. I was about to drink, but you took over. I want to say one more thing about our first trip in Oahu, like our first stay, because we go back in the end. There was, like, if you go to hostels, you will meet cool people.
Yeah.
One person there I really liked a lot was Zara. So shout out to Zara. And what I liked was that you're like on this beautiful location, stunning sets, stunning like places you can
Scenery, yeah.
see. But still, she like enjoyed so much just at sunset, go to the beach, watch the sunset, and have like cool conversation there. She loved that so much, and that's like a cool attribute to have. Like, don't be overwhelmed, but still enjoy like these kind of moments.
Yeah, we had at certain places in Hawaii, we had more memories with people. In
Mhm.
other places, we have more memories because of nature. And that's one of the examples, because we got to know Zara, and we didn't really spend that much
No.
time with her, but the moments that we had together
Yeah,
were nice.
Super cool, yeah.
Even
And
though
that's cool about hostels.
even though I ruined somebody's time lapse, but
Yeah. Be very aware at beaches at sunset who is filming, because people can get angry. if
well,
you walk into a
that's
shot.
that's perhaps another good tip. Like, if you go to a beach and you're all by yourself, well, you don't have to really take into account that there's other people. There's nobody there. But if you go to a beach like Waikiki Beach in Honolulu, certainly at sunset, there's a lot of people trying to get their shots. So if you go on the beach, just be aware where you walk and where you run. Of course, people that take shots must also know that, like, you cannot really have a place to yourself. So there will be people sometimes, but just be aware of it. Like, I made that mistake, and yeah, it was not so fun at the moment, but.
But talking about something fun, we did our second island the day after, and that is the island of Maui. We will skip the whole car part till the end, because that's a story of its own. But as we said, hostels, one of the nicest hostels I've ever been to in my life, and one of the hostels that will forever have a place in my heart,
Exactly.
is the hostel in Maui, and it's called HAWAI'I Hostel.
Yeah. So, first of all, we also stayed in that hostel with the thought, like, okay, it's gonna be similar probably as the one in Polynesian, in Honolulu, but it was not at all. It was like much cleaner. So many nice people that we met there. The hostel itself also did extra stuff for their for the people that stayed there that they really didn't really needed to do, but they still did. So they organized some activities. They made sure every morning there are some chocolate pancakes for everybody, as much as you want. So there's just some stuff that just makes it so much more enjoyable when you're there, and you come into the hostel, and it's like a living. It's like a living room.
From the moment you walk in, you see it's like a big living room. People can work there. People can just chill in the couch, and then there's always someone at the desk to help you, and they like explain, yeah, that's your room. You can use the area. It's like it stops at 11, but we do have one WhatsApp group that we want you to join in, so you
Yeah.
can chat with all the guests here. And of course, we do these activities. You don't have to do them, but if you want to be part of them, like just write your name up. They're fun. They're made to make you connect with everyone here, because we all know you guys are cool travelers, so you will get along most of the time.
Yeah, they are very welcoming to
Mhm.
everybody, and they try to integrate you into the vibe of the people that already are staying there. And like we noticed too, like there are sometimes new waves of people coming in.
Yeah.
And then I think like it's the people that already stayed there for a couple of days that pull these other people into these activities, so that they all have a fun time together. And like you said, it's optional. It's not like you have to do it, but it's cool that you have options that you can choose yourself.
So one of the first things we did on Maui was one of their activities. It was like a game night, which is actually more a drinking game night.
Always fun.
Yeah. So there was, I think, 2 drinking games. You kind of
Yeah.
get to know the people
Yeah.
around you a bit more. You see how their personalities were. And the cool thing about our group right then was they're like, let's not stop at the game night. Let's put on some music. Let's
And
go
dance.
dance afterwards. So there was one Spanish girl who was like really into DJing and like, oh, I'm gonna show you all the dances from Spain. And
You
then,
know reggaeton?
you know reggaeton? And everyone's like, yes, we know. It's fun. And she was like teaching the dances.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, the whole group connects more. You start talking to more people. And then you actually, in one night, it's crazy how, like, instantly you have, like, a new group of friends.
Yeah, exactly. And we also got to know the people from Quebec that we
Yeah.
hung up with a couple of times after that.
So you will always have, like, everyone there was super cool, but you spent more time with certain people. So
Yeah, of course.
it happens. The first people we really connected to, I feel, were Sabrina and Angie. Sabrina liked my humor, which is very rare, and I love you for that. But I love that she got that I'm joking, but I can still do it very seriously.
Yes. Some people, when they get to know you, are like, what? Is he serious or what? What is this guy about? Like,
And
but
it's fun if
she got
went
it.
along and she was like teasing back, and that's so much fun. We also met our roomie, because we will go back to Sabrina and Angie later on because we did more with
Yeah,
them.
exactly.
But we there also met our roomie Jorim, which is a super cool dude. He's like in the Air Force. He had a dope car on the island.
yeah. He rented like a sports car. I
Yeah.
don't remember the brand, but
Well, it's one of the more known
well-known brands
I
in
think it was
USA.
a Chevy.
Chevrolet?
I think I'm not super sure.
Yeah, it could be. Or was it a Dodge? I don't know.
Anyway, he got a crazy upgrade and he was like very hyped about that. So he wanted to do the road to Hannah the next day.
Yeah, and it was
But-
a red one too. So
A red cool car. And we were like, yeah, road to Hannah seems fun. We were planning to do it that tomorrow too. Let's go together. And so happened. So our first activity that was island based, I will say, was the road to Hannah. The first thing I have is you finally got to cliff jump.
yeah, so there were a lot of stops on the road to Hana. We did a couple of them, and like
Maybe
you said,
I should explain the road to Hannah first for the people
Well,
that don't know it.
well, basically the road to Hana, you go from
Wherever you
from
are.
our stay, whatever, and you go actually all the way towards the other side of the island, basically, which is on the southeast side of the island. And there's a lot of stops in between, but it's like the whole way there is like loops all the way,
Mhm.
all the way there with some awesome stops. And it takes like a full day to do the road to Hana,
Because
basically.
if you see the distance, it looks like, oh, this can only take 1 hour to drive there.
yeah,
But
like
they say there's like over 250, I think you said
loops. Yeah, like
of turns. Sorry,
turns. Yeah.
around 2. It might be more. I know the day we were driving, I told you, so be careful because there will be so much.
Yeah, don't speed
turns.
through them. Don't speed through them.
But actually, I drove in the way to there.
Yeah.
And if you're not turning, you have to stop because there's a cool stop. And the first one was Twin Peaks, and then the other cliff jump was at another fall, but I didn't write down the name.
Yeah, I don't remember,
If you do
but
the Road to Hana, you will see the falls.
I don't remember the name either. But like, not everybody knows. I love waterfalls, and so when we have the opportunity to stop at a waterfall, we probably will. And those two were actually also cool places. Not the most impressive waterfalls that we've seen, but the cool thing was that we could do some cliff jumping, and I like that. I like to do that, and I like cliff jumping and I like waterfalls, so the combination is actually pretty much perfect. And you didn't do that,
No.
but you watched from the side.
Someone has to film.
Yeah, somebody has to film. I mean, luckily I have that, because when I was filming that day on the road to Hana, I did lose a lot of content there.
We're not there
yeah.
yet, but
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it.
Another cool stop was seeing eucalyptus trees. And so, yeah, some spots on the road to Hana are very jungly. One is like a stop with all different kind of eucalyptus trees. They were not as colorful as they are on the pictures, but I think that's slightly
because of the weather.
Photoshop enhanced, and maybe also the weather.
Maybe, yeah, but it's you cannot mistake them.
Yeah, and
they're very
still a cool
recognizable.
thing to see.
They're very recognizable. But yeah, a lot of pictures, of course, have their saturated, their saturation a lot higher than it's in real life sometimes. So that's probably also why. We stayed a little bit longer to take some pictures, a little bit longer than the other guys that were there. Yeah, I don't remember. What is the next stop that we did then after that?
The next stop was the cliffs at the sea. Like there were black
Oh,
cliffs
yeah.
with,
Like a lot of black rock formations there at the sea with the wild waves there. Yeah, exactly. I don't remember the name of the place. No. It was a cool spot,
you
though.
You can see Road to Hana, and you will have all the names written down
of the pit stops.
If you do it, it will be like, if you do it, you just look it up, and then you have everything, right?
Yeah, I think you can easily find all the pit stops on the Road to Hana just online.
I do know where we did end the Road to Hana.
Yeah.
And that was at Red Sand Beach, even though we thought it was Black Sand Beach.
Well, it is a black sand beach, but they call it Red Sand Beach because on certain times during the day, probably depending on the light, depending on the angle that you look at it, apparently it appears to be red, even though it is actual black sand. And that's why we call it a black sand beach, even though a bit earlier on the road there was another black sand beach that we couldn't go to because we had to make reservations for that, and we had to have a Hawaiian like passport or whatever, so that was not an option for us. But so that was our black sand beach.
And actually a cool story from there. You don't really know it, well, because I told you what happened, but with the dog.
Oh yeah.
So we go to the beach, we put down our like towels, we go in the beach, we go back, and then we suddenly notice that there is a dog coming to us, like every time closer and closer. And then we sit down and he comes sitting with us, and then you run into the beach and he starts to follow you the first time, but he stops at the water.
Yeah.
And you come back and he comes back, lays down. I think we played cards for a bit, and you were like,
yeah,
oh, let's go I'm gonna go into the
yeah,
beach
but
one more time.
he was like really almost rubbing against your leg, like the dog was really close to you at that time.
And then I never seen this, but he runs in the water, and the dog just follows you.
Sprinted.
And like when you jump to hit the waves, it's just exactly the same. It's so funny and so cute, and it was like your dog, you know.
Man, it was not.
And
it
it's
was
cool
not.
that he timed like when you timed, so adorable, and you didn't see because he was in your back.
Yeah.
But I was like, how cool is this?
I should have filmed this.
Yeah. And then, well, we came back, and then I saw one girl that I thought, she might be cool to shoot here at the beach. And then it turned out it was her dog. And she was like, yeah, I noticed he liked you. So, and that tells, like, that last part just tells so much about the people of Hawaii. Like how chill they are, how laid back, and how they...
That's something that you notice, indeed. Whilst it's still part of the USA, the people that live in Hawaii are a lot more laid back. You notice that there's a lot less stress going on in their lives, and we're and it's not even the least visited place. So if you go to very remote places, you feel even more chill, I feel like. And we're gonna return back to that when we're going to the other islands as well. But yeah, that's something that we noticed about the people there.
We drove all the way back, which was a bit faster because you don't have to make the stops anymore. Oh no, I forgot the story about you losing.
Oh, well, yeah,
It's
so
not so important.
no, the
What
thing,
you have to know about black sand beaches is that the density of the sand is way
lower.
lower, so it sticks more to your body.
Well, the density is just, it's smaller. The
Yeah.
the grains of sand are a lot smaller than you have with the regular beaches. So the thing is, when you go to a regular beach, afterwards you just rub it off of you. But with these black sand beaches, that's not really possible because it's so small, these grains, so they stick to you, which means you basically have to shower to get them off of you. And luckily, there are some showers at most beaches. And like I said, in going there on the road to Hana, I had an action camera with me. It's not a GoPro; it was a DJI Action, and I did film a lot of cool shots. And on that beach as well, I ran to the water with it. But then when we were going towards the car, I put it down there to take a shower, and apparently I must have forgotten it there because when we
It's somewhere.
when we got back to our hostel, the house at the hostel, I didn't find it anymore. And we looked into the car. I looked into my check-in luggage, my handbag, nothing. So I must have forgotten it there. But it was not a property of some kind of hotel. It was just a public beach, which means like there's not somebody that takes it and puts it into some kind of lost items or so. So yeah, I did lose that and the contents that I filmed there, sadly.
Sorry, yeah.
But we had a fun experience though.
That's always more important. And like one of the fun experiences, because then we drive back. I was about to say drove. But yeah, we drove back.
Yeah, we did.
And one about the fun parts is if you have to stay in a car long with someone, you kind of have to talk to each other, and you have like either serious conversations or very silly conversations. I think the most silly conversation that we had was 1 hour about what is
cookies.
the best cookie. And
We were
maybe it's
no,
a very
the
serious
thing is,
question.
part of the way we were talking about Disney movies,
Yeah.
and
Because
then
I haven't seen them and you haven't seen them, and it's so weird. People
Yeah.
are always weirded out. Like what? Like this always like not the Lion King. I'm like, no, I've never seen the Lion
he hasn't seen The Lion King.
King. That reaction.
I'm like, come on. I mean, I haven't seen Frozen, so whatever.
Same.
But so we were talking half of the way about Disney movies, and the other half we were talking about cookies.
Yeah.
And like we were talking about nostalgic cookies from Belgium that
Yeah.
we loved
So
to
you
eat
guys
back
will
in the
not know
day.
it, but if you ever come to Belgium, remember, and if you meet me, say, bring a dinosaur cookie. Because it's the best in the world, and you guys are missing out, and that's so
Well, I
scary
mean,
for you guys.
that's his opinion. Like I love dino cookies that we had back in the day, but we were arguing and thinking like, is that
but
cookie
it
better?
cannot-
And some
It will be in everyone's top 5. That's the point. It's so good. It's at least in your top 5.
you should make a
A podcast about cookies.
no, not a podcast about it, but like make some kind of like question lists to ask some people here, like, what is your top 5 cookies in Belgium? But yeah, we were talking about it, and I was not really convinced all that much. I loved the dino cookies, but there were some strong competitors, and I must say, like, there are some that I like more.
It breaks my heart. But about fun things, that night we did something very fun. I told you we would come back to the girls we met. So you have Sabrina, who is a cool doctor to be, like the most famous doctor, some would say. That's an inside joke with Sabrina, by the way.
Oh
'Cause you
yeah,
were
I
really
did.
like, what the hell is
I
going on?
didn't. I didn't get that one.
And Angie, but that night we also met Ariana, who had like this
Ariane.
Ariane, sorry, like such a fun vibe as well, and that it blended so well with the other two.
Yeah, there were a couple
And-
of other people with us as well. Like,
And it happened to be that like a lot of people there were from Quebec, and we know Sabrina and Angie were together, but then they met Ariane, who is also from Quebec, and they're like, oh, that's so cool. And then there were two other friends of them that they met, two guys who were also in our hostel that night. Yeah, they were
also
yeah,
from Quebec.
Also from Quebec.
Yeah.
So we had like, it was like 2 Belgian dudes and a group of Quebec, and then one other guy, I feel. And we
Oh yeah.
decided
A bit
it
of.
was
I
time-
think it was a bit of an older guy.
Yeah.
He was probably like compared to us at least.
Mm.
I think he was in his 40s probably.
But the thing is about hostels, if it's very spontaneous sometimes, and if you wanted to do it, just go in with the spontaneous thing that happened. So they were like, let's do karaoke night, and we were like, yeah,
Why not?
we have a little bit of energy left, let's do it.
Yeah, so karaoke we did, and there were a couple of songs that were sung like, and everybody knows when you go to karaoke, don't take it too seriously.
Mhm.
And now and then, like you just expect everybody to just be silly when they sing, right? Just having fun. But now and then there's a person, there's a girl or a guy that sings that just blows you away. And there was
And
like,
most of the time, actually, it's you that blows everyone away. So
but I
it
mean,
was funny that now there were like multiple people.
there were like a couple of other people that were really impressive. I remember like one girl that was really
Yeah.
good, and like I think was it the girl from the woman from the karaoke itself? I don't know. I
don't
think she
so.
sung a couple of times as well. But there was a girl that was really good too. Yeah,
And one guy I remember.
I don't.
There were a couple of funny things that night. The first thing was I never heard someone sing a Rammstein song
Before
on a
that,
karaoke night. It happened there.
yeah. And that's something that you don't hear very often, so it makes it
Yeah.
cool, kind of. It's not really that everybody can sing along. Nobody can sing along, but
And he was so enthusiastic about it. He really wanted to sing that song that night there.
yeah.
That was just cool. The other fun thing was your first duet with Angie.
With Angie, yeah. We did Wonderwall
Mhm.
from Oasis. And then to my surprise, we sung together.
Yeah, also first time.
I can be your hero, baby.
Yeah, you can still be my hero. And how was it? Sing
Damn.
with me? Is it okay?
Actually, surprisingly good.
Well, it's a song that's in my vocal range, I would say. I don't have
Oh,
a big vocal range.
Man, that's
it's
not.
high at some parts, but then I was like, I'm gonna shut up now, and he
Yeah,
can
yeah.
sing.
I was about to say there are some high parts in there too, but like generally,
Mhm.
it's doable.
Yeah, I know. And then our Canadian friends did the Queen thing.
Oh, Bohemian
They-
Rhapsody.
They
yeah, of
really went
course.
for it.
Somebody has to do it every karaoke session,
Yeah.
so.
I remember them being so hyped. Oh, Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah, you were like,
Go
oh
then."
no, again.
And I've been telling them, like at the beginning of the trip, like, I fucking am over Bohemian Rhapsody. It's like everywhere.
You heard it too much?
Yeah, it's too much. It's getting too much. But they did amazing. If you want video proof, I
I
have it on
mean,
my phone.
Let's say they made it a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Like it was not about the singing whatsoever. It's just having fun.
Yeah.
Like who can do that song justice on a karaoke? Like as a good singer, actually,
Well,
it's not easy.
Sabrina, Angie, and Ariane, if you guys are listening, you guys did so much honor to the Queen song. I remember it till this day.
Man.
And after the karaoke, we actually, like, we were talking to Sabrina, and she was like, yeah, I started running. So we decided, oh, you know what? Tomorrow morning, let's do a morning run. Because, like, he already said that he went running on Oahu, but what he didn't said is you were actually training to do the Viking.
I was training to do a Strong Viking run, and Strong Viking is is like a brand company over here in Europe that organizes like obstacle runs. And I've done a couple of them in the past of like 19 kilometers. But this time I was challenging myself to do a big one, the Iron Viking, which is a marathon with over 100 obstacles, so 42 kilometers. And so I was planning to go for a run now and then on Hawaii, which is why exactly I did that morning run too, the first one, and then that one time after the karaoke we went for the morning run too. That was a short one, 5 kilometers, but like you're in groups, so it's just more for fun, and also like in the heat and in like the steepness of some hills that we did, it's still like the intensity is still there.
I was about to say, some like Germany said, "Oh, you know what? You should go run up the hill."
Jeremy was like, "Oh, you should go that way," and we were like, "Okay." We were just being naive. We were just following him. He was like probably thinking, "Oh, I'm gonna have some fun hearing their story afterwards, probably." But the way we ran was probably the steepest way we could go.
Yeah.
All the way up, and then after a while, like
Sabrina was like, "You guys go. I'm quitting." We're like, "Oh no, we will follow you. Let's go back."
then we went back down and like ran the other way, which we should have done in the beginning.
In the first time, yeah. But it was a cool morning thing to do, actually.
Yeah,
I
it
loved
was.
it.
It was. And
Was
like,
so
if you
fun.
go run in Hawaii, just please don't do it in the afternoon. Don't do it in the afternoon. It's probably the worst thing you could do then. Like running in the afternoon or running at 4,000 meters height. Don't do that.
No.
Don't do that.
The next day, we did a beach morning again with our new friends, which was chill, just playing some
It was a beach, like not too far from Lahaina.
Mhm.
So it was on the way there, but we didn't went up there at that point in time. So it was just next to the road. There was this nice beach. It was on the west side of Maui, on the northwest side.
Yeah, just a cool morning, and it still shows if you connect with people, you can like do things together, just have a fun time.
Well, the reason that we went there actually was because Angie and Ariane were
Surfing.
going surfing there,
Mhm.
and we were like, we'll just go and sit on the beach, relax some for a bit, and we played some cards, played some music, some Latin Zumba kind of playlists.
The
Café con leche.
vibe started there.
Yeah, it
Because
did.
I think it was because Sabrina said, it's not about leche, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's not about milk. Which it is about milk, by the way, Sabrina. You need to listen better, but
Oh, she has a dirty mind.
but yeah, that was fun. And then like we saw them going to Mount Haleakale. And we were like, we still need to do that. It's
Oh, well, that's one of the first things that we knew that they've done was the volcano, but at sunrise. And they showed the pictures and the videos from there. We were like, oh my God, that is
That's so
amazing.
stunning. So, if you don't know it, so on Maui you have a volcano. It's called Haleakale, and most people see it either at sunrise or at sunset. But if you want to see it at sunrise, you need to book it in advance. There are only a limited amount of tickets, and then you get a spot between 3:30, I think.
Was it
and
not 4
7.
and was it
or
not
4:30 and
4 and
7.
7, something like that?
But like they told us in the hostel, because they are so generous with their information, was like, if you don't get tickets, which is like very normal to not get tickets because they're sold out so fast and like you need to know it in front. What you
Advanced, yeah.
can do is like, if you have the spirit for it, just go around 2 in the morning. So you arrive there at 3, I feel.
Yeah, before there's anyone
Yeah.
there to like
Then
make you pay them.
sneak up, and then you don't have to pay each, because even if you drive it up during the day, you have to pay an entrance fee, which you should do because it's cool to see. But like if you go before, it's all free. You just go there, you sit there, and what they gonna do? They cannot send you back anyway.
No.
That would be like too silly. So what you do need to realize, if you do it, it's very cold.
Yeah, it's very cold.
Probably.
Probably on sunrise
Because we didn't do it at sunrise,
We
and
did-
it was already like we did it mid of the day.
It was chill.
And
was
it was
chill.
like at the end I told you like, oh, it's
Yeah.
getting cold, let's go
Yeah, it
back.
was. I mean, chill in the sense like cold, not really like, oh, it's chill over here. It's like, no, chill. It was not warm. And the thing is, like, we had an amazing time there. Even though it was during the day, the views were still spectacular.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine it being what it's
Like
what it's
mountain
been
views,
in
I
the
think
sunrise
that spot was one of the best of
Hawaii.
Of Hawaii trip. Yeah, I loved it a lot.
Yeah. That was amazing. But like he said before, you have to pay no matter what time during the day, except if you go before 3 a.m. or whatever. If you're really early there, you just avoid the ticket. But yeah,
But if it's possible for you to do it at sunrise or sunset, do it, because it will only enhance.
just make sure you grab a blanket and some hoodies to be.
Make sure you're warm, and then
exactly. But
And
that's really, you have to do the volcano no matter
yeah,
what. It's a must
for sure.
see in Maui.
And then after that, we were lucky to be able to go to Lahaina while it was still there,
Yeah.
because and that's like a weird part. If I think back to the trip, like I think it's 1 or 2 weeks before the fires.
Yes.
We ended our trip in Maui actually there.
It was the last night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we had like a very cool night. I told Sabrina and Angie like, let's do a sunset shoot, because you guys are both photogenic, and if you listen, you are. So keep believing that if I say it, it's true.
Because they all say like, oh, I'm not good on pictures, guys.
You guys are amazing on pictures. And I've been taking a lot of pictures, so I can know. And yeah, so we went there. It's like we had to walk through a resort, and then you got to see what resorts are like in Hawaii, which is...
That was like the most luxurious place we've probably seen in Hawaii. That side of Maui. And that's also so strange to think about right now, that the most luxurious place that we've been to is now gone. Just gone, because it's burned down.
Yeah.
And I didn't actually realize until we were doing the podcast in Dutch before, that it was actually over there that those fires were. And a lot of people probably asked you as well, me too, that like, guys, are you okay? And they're like, you're just back in time probably. So that was kind of strange to see, but like you said, it was nice that we were able to see it. And we parked at one of these parking lots in one of these resorts, and like the beach, I don't know if it was from the resorts, but we could stay there. And that's probably one of the places that if you want to see some hula dances from Hawaii, which is pretty typical, that's probably one of the places that you should go to, because you don't really see it in a lot of other places. I think that's typical for these resorts.
Yeah. And one thing about that night, and like about all the last nights we actually did on the islands, is we didn't want to leave them. Like, if we met people and we know we liked them, we kind of wanted to close the island trip together with them. And that's like I feel a cool way to end any trip you do.
Yes.
It's like, go meet the people you really like connected with, and then spend the night together watching a sunset, something chill, play some music, have some, like, if it's at night,
drop your camera in the sea.
Yeah, that's your thing then. I don't plan to do that
anymore.
But yeah, and you will see it. You will have some nice ending conversations.
And we did have a couple of those nights, exactly. And like, we stayed there for a long time. We watched the sunset, which was amazing. Like, that was a beautiful sunset. And but we stayed there, watched the stars for a couple of, like, I think like probably an hour, I don't know, or even longer. We were just sitting and talking. You were drinking Corona. And just enjoying the last moments with these guys. I mean, we would still see them in the morning, just before we left, but that was like the closure.
Yeah, and it's cool to like close.
Yes.
A story, or have like a cool moment to look back on always.
Mm-hmm.
So I highly suggest you do that. And on the topic of like cool people in the hostel, I do have to mention Selena as well. And it
Yeah.
was so funny how we
How
got
it?
to meet
Yeah.
her.
How we got to start talking with Celine? Because I was talking to somebody,
To
or
me. We
was
were
it to
talking-
you?
yeah.
I don't know. But she
So like
said
we
like,
said before, in the hostel at morning they are baking pancakes.
yeah.
So we see the employee baking the pancakes. I'm like, oh yeah, cool, breakfast starting. I'm talking to you, and suddenly someone speaks to us in Dutch, and I think we both didn't even realize it. We're like, huh?
No. She was not speaking in Dutch to me, but she was first asking. She was first saying like, she thought I was German, I believe. I think it was like that.
That was someone else.
Was that somebody else?
Yeah, there was a German girl that talked German to you, and like, oh no.
Oh yeah. But she was actually, she said like, "Man, your English is really good." And then we started talking in English first, and then she was like, "Hey, I live in Belgium." She was talking Dutch to me. I'm like,
What?
"Oh my god!" So she was working there, but she's from Belgium. So the chances of meeting somebody from your own country, like on the other side of the world,
Are pretty slim.
You're-
And
you're-
even,
you're just
like,
not
even
prepared for
more
that.
they are working in a place.
yeah,
'Cause
exactly.
That you don't expect at all. But super cool girl. Fun morning pancake stories we could share.
Yeah, and I saw a lot of stories too from her when the whole thing happened in Lahaina with the
I
the
think
burns and the
she-
fires.
yeah.
She helped a lot there with helping people. There was a link that she got for some fundraisings,
Mhm.
I think too. I don't know if it's still active,
I
but
do think it is. So, if you wanna, what you need to know about Hawaii is, people don't have. It's very expensive to live, and if your house burned down or like you cannot access your savings because a lot of people couldn't access their houses actually, so they need a lot of getting like normal foods and water. And what Celine did was like with other people raise some money, go to grocery shopping, and then give them some food. And I think
Yeah.
she's still there. So if you want to help those people out, I know Belgians typically love caring about people and love sharing, especially if people got like a fire and they lost everything.
yeah, if it's a disaster that they
Mhm.
cannot really change something about, it's nature.
So if you want to help, we will connect you with Celine, and I'm pretty sure she can help out. I think she's still there, but I know she will return to Belgium.
Yeah, it's
And-
not too far from now, I think. But
Yeah.
I think I also saw some stories still from there.
Yeah, but she's connected to the hostels, and she's actually like, I know if you give money to her, it will go to the people.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we saw the stories of her giving the foods, and that's such a cool thing to do. By the way, Celine, I love you even more for that. You were amazing at the hostel. You are still amazing, and it will be fun to see you if you are back in Belgium. As
Yeah, it
well.
was so much so much fun of a company. Plus, like you said, it would be nice to meet up with her if
Mm.
she's back in Belgium sometime too.
It's the only person we met. I know for sure she will come back to Belgium. The others, I hope they will visit us.
Yeah, well, it's the only one that lives in Belgium, so
Yeah.
I mean,
She has to. I'm sorry. But then, I wanted to say as well, we met some other cool people. We cannot name everyone, but Gabrielle Landry, you were also pretty cool. Thanks for all the tips on Jurassic Park. She was the girl with the Jurassic Park shirt
oh
all
yeah,
the time.
yeah. Of
And
course.
we forgot, like, also a very suddenly an Irish girl just popped up and started become friends
Susan,
with us. Yeah.
Susan.
And you said this is such a typical Irish thing
Accent.
to do. And
Yeah,
the accent as well.
exactly. Because the year before, so last year, I went to Ireland and Scotland, and like I noticed there that just no matter where you go in the evening, no matter to which pub or whatever place you go, no way are you going there by yourself and staying by yourself. There's somebody that is going to talk to you because they're just so open and so social. And with her, it was the same thing. She was just sitting with us at certain point and just started talking.
I know when we were eating the food truck food.
Oh yeah.
like what you should also know about Hawaii is you can go eat at the food trucks because there's a lot of restaurant chefs that lost their job and then got a food truck. So the food in the food trucks is just amazing.
Yeah.
And the one close to the hostel
Was really good.
like every
was really
night you
good.
just saw people eating from there.
Yeah.
And I think I had the pork belly. Wow,
That was amazing.
one of the
That was
best
amazing.
meals I had the whole trip.
Yeah.
Super
So
good.
yeah, and that started her.
And then we were eating that, and she was like, "Oh, what are you guys eating?" And oh no, I think she said, "Oh, I had something else," and then she just poured in her positive Irish
Vibes.
and,
Yeah.
such a
Well,
cool
she
person as well.
she joined Jeremy also with
the
the
trip, yeah.
road to Hana. Yes. Yes.
Because I
exactly.
wrote her down with Road to Hana, but I don't noticed I didn't talk about her, and she deserves a shout out here, man. Because
So Susan, this one's is for you.
Yeah, only for you. But yeah, sadly we had to leave the hostel. What I do have to say about it, it was kind of needed a bit because as much as you love meeting people, especially in that hostel that is so cool and has so much cool people, but it can be overwhelming at the end because you said people from your wave pull people in, but also
Well, there's just
it's a
new
lot of
people coming. There's new
coming
people
and
coming.
going, and the going is like a bit sad, and at some point you're like full of, I was a bit full with all the, even though I still saw everyone was so cool and like interesting stories, because I also forget a couple that was there that like we talked to a lot as well.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they-
We have
yeah.
met so many
Mhm.
people, so it's hard to talk about every single thing that we've done of every single person that we've talked to. Is just we've just done so much, and like you said, it can be a bit overwhelming by being social like all of the time. You don't really have a lot of rest moments, right?
So then going to the big island, going to an Airbnb with just
Just the two
a
of
room
us.
of us, that was welcoming at that part, and also
Yeah,
like
it was more relaxing at that point in
and
time.
also because the place was super cool, man. Wow.
Yeah, like we
Not
didn't
weather-wise.
like no,
But-
it was cool.
Yeah.
Like the thing is, in the big island of Hawaii, is actually what they call it. The main place, the main city is Kona, and we didn't stay in Kona. We stayed at the other side of the island near Hilo, and that is the other place that people stay at basically. And we stayed on that side, and the place where we stayed at was called the Hawaiian Acres. And it's basically like he said, an Airbnb, a beautiful home, a house where there's other people too, but not too much. And if you just walk outside, you just feel like you're in some kind of jungle. It's just, you feel in the middle, like nowhere, just nature around you. And also the owner of the place, she has a lot of these plants and pineapple trees and whatever. So
Mainly
a lot
pineapple.
of
I think she had over 300 pineapple trees.
yeah, because she had
almost
one
had
for
one-
every
yeah,
day of
almost.
the year. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't work for every day of the year, but she has so many
Yeah, and
trees.
the house itself is also bigger than the most houses in Hawaii, so it had like
Yeah,
three
yeah.
storages, and then we had the balcony with the view on the palm tree.
It was a really cool
Yeah,
view,
it's a
and
cool
it was nice that we had. That was a really comforty place. Like there was a lot of comfort there. You had the feeling that you're home.
and we
too.
needed a rest place because you planned some pretty big trips.
Some intense days.
Intense,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
I
because
remember one record walking day.
because of the big island, it's called the Big Island for a reason. It's the biggest island of Hawaii, but it's also well known for its volcanoes. So we definitely wanted to do that, and one of these
Because
days
one of the reasons
was
you wanted to see Hawaii was to see lava as well.
was
if possible.
well, if possible, yeah. We didn't see lava, but I definitely wanted to see the volcanoes there. Like if you go to the Big Island, no way that you're going without seeing the volcanoes. I think like that's something that you just need to do if you go
And
to Hawaii.
If the place is called Volcano Park, well, that's your first stop on the
So
island.
we
then.
did. So, well, the first day we didn't actually do anything. We just planned out the rest of the days.
And laundry.
And
I
laundry. That's correct. Like we forgot in the last podcast, whatever. But we planned out the trip, and then after after the second night, we planned to do Volcano National Park on the big island of Hawaii.
And he was like, you will need to get up early. I want to see it at sunrise.
Yeah, I was like, I want to
And
do it
I don't
at
wanna see
sunrise.
the park at sunrise. I want to do a hike first from an hour, and then I want to see the
The thing
sunrise.
was, I looked up some information online,
Mhm.
and like, because you want to make the chances of seeing lava as high as possible, people advised online to go when it's dark, because if there's lava, that's the easiest time to see lava, because it lights up. Of course, it's the easiest moment to see it. So that's the reason that we went on so early. But the one advantage that we have as well, there's no people. You have on the parking lot, there's a lot of space,
And you even skip the parking fee.
and you skip the parking fee. So there's a lot of
Cool tip
advantages
if you go.
to do that. And so we started the day like really early. I think we started the hike around 4:30 in the morning, and it was like completely dark. So I just had some like night lamp, some headlight with me, and like a 1 hour hike, whatever. We started, and I was not really sure exactly. Sometimes like, should we go here? Cause like sun is coming up. Like, should we go further on? It seems like it's nice here too. So we went down into the crater, and went for a walk on the dried up lava, on the black lava, and that was kind of sketchy, but it was super cool. Like, I think it was a very special thing that we have done, even though it's basically not we were not supposed to be there, but
So
it was
story
still cool.
goes is at some point Yuri says to me, well, we should do a detour because I don't think we will hit the spot at sunset, and so we should go left to another route to another spot. Yeah, I was like, okay, yeah, I follow you. You're the boss. Do your thing. And then we see like a little plaque going, you cannot go further than here.
Yeah, we
Um,
were already in the crater basically then.
And we go a bit back, and I was like, but shouldn't we go just to the right because sun will come up now?
Yeah.
And we should just go. And he's like, I'm not sure, but yeah, okay, let's try. And we start walking, and walking on lava has this weird sound that you're not walking on stone. It's more crunchy.
It's more crunchy, and that was kind of sketchy because I had the feeling that like, I hope we are not going to fall through this lava. Like, the thing is, when lava is flowing, sometimes you have these air bubbles in it. But when it dries up with its air in it, it forms like some kind of like sinkhole basically, when like the top breaks off and you fall through. The thing is, you don't know how big these holes can be. So I was hoping that there was not that was not going to happen to us, because we were basically not following any path. That was the concerning part. Like, if it would be a route that was there for tourists, they would make sure it is safe to go, but it was not.
And so we had the point that it was very cracky at our feet. He said, oh no, we should go back. I was like, yeah, if you go back, we're going to run, because I want to see then sunrise at another spot, but we will need to go fast. And we start running back, and we come to this point where, like here, there is a pathway actually.
Yeah, we saw a path then.
Should we check it out? Should we not? We look at the time, we're like, well,
so
we are here, and this seems safe.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do. So we both decide, okay, let's go.
It seemed more legit, because it was really clear that it was some kind of path. So we were like, okay, it cannot be that dangerous if there's a path here, even though we kind of knew like it's probably not where most tourists go. But we didn't really know where the path came from
and how illegal it was to be there.
Yeah,
there were no clear signs that we could not do it. So we go back. We're like, okay, quick decisions. Either we go or we don't. So we go all the way back. Then it came like you have cracks in the hole where there's like more like rock split.
Yeah, some
Right,
like
explain that
really.
right.
Yeah, there are some cracks in the ground. Exactly, like it's at certain points you see like the ground is like kind of divided
up,
because of crackings.
And like you can jump over them, but at some point it gets very risky to jump over, and considering the fact as well that we already had kind of cool view, you know, if you go further it will be better, of course. The view already was great, and it started getting way too sketchy, so we're like, okay.
Thing is, like, the question is then, like, how far do you go then?
Go.
Because afterwards, when we went to another point, you knew, like, we were far from the edge there. So, but still,
we were far in as well.
Already, we saw a lot of like smoke and damp coming from some of these spots around us, and we didn't really smell anything. So that was good. But we had some nice shots there.
Yeah, I really love that spot. Super cool morning.
That was cool. And the thing, like, I thought also when I dressed before we left, I thought I'm gonna take my flashy yellow shirt because it's gonna stand out in the surroundings on all the black lava, right? So, and it was like that. When we took a couple of shots, I watched them afterwards and was like, oh, this looks kind of good actually. And it was cool to be in this surrounding because there's no people there. And when we returned, when we went back to like outside of the crater, we followed the path back on the lava, and then we had to take a turn because then we saw where it led to, and it was that sign where we first came that said that we could not continue there.
So the path we thought, oh, we have a path here now, it's safe, actually led to the sign that you should not go there.
Yeah,
but
so it's probably just for like scientists, workers, or whatever that go there for whatever, but like. I do have to add,
because this sounds very badassy and like, oh, look at us.
No,
we were very conscious about our surroundings.
What could happen?
And like we were still hitting it pretty safe.
Yeah.
I push you a little bit further, I know, because I was like, this will just be a bit better.
I mean, usually I'm the one pushing you, so whatever.
But yeah, very cool sunrise location. And then we went to the lookout point, yeah. Already explained, and that place was also one of the cool views of the trip.
Yeah, so we went on the south end of the crater. And it was one of the main viewpoints there, because over there you saw actually the path that the lava was making into the crater. Like, I mean, basically outside, but like it was running down towards, it was leading down into the crater there. We stepped on the lava there as well, but like you were at a totally different point. So we stayed there for a couple of... we stayed there for a while, actually, because we filmed a couple of shots. I took the drone out, too. And that's also one of the advantages when you go really early. And because there's no people there, it's a lot safer to fly a drone. Like, I don't risk it when there's a lot of people nearby to take the drone out. It's just more stressful. So that's one of the reasons that we go to.
What I do have to add about the volcano park is... when we say volcano, everyone thinks about the Etna, Vesuvius kind of volcanoes. I think it's called
a stratovolcano, yeah.
So the volcano park is not that type of volcano.
No.
Like he says, crater, it's really a crater. And there used to be layers of lava that every once in a while...
You see the layers of the crater going deeper and deeper. Until the most recent one, that's the deepest one. But it's not like you're going up a mountain and there's the crater. That's not like it at all. You're basically going down into the crater, and yeah, it's hard to really notice it being a mountain. It really is not a mountain. Whilst the highest peaks of the Big Island of Hawaii are also volcanoes, but those are actually mountains.
So yeah, that's just a thing to keep in mind if you say volcano park. It's not.
Yeah, but that's basically
that's cool.
But that's basically the same with Yellowstone too, because Yellowstone is not a stratovolcano either. It's not a mountain. It's a park that is a volcano in itself. I think it's a caldera volcano. I think that's the name, but I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that.
You were about to say because the stones are not yellow there. which could have been.
I mean, we don't know. We haven't been there.
And because it was a busy day, so we already had, I think, 15,000 steps.
It was good. Yeah.
So actually, Volcano Park, you can walk there the whole day, but we didn't do because we wanted to go visit Green Sand Beach,
Yeah.
which is a 2-hour drive, I feel, because we
No,
the-
it was not
or
that
1
far
hour drive.
actually. The thing was like we did the big crater.
Mhm.
We returned and took another turn for a bit of smaller crater. Stayed there for a while, but then we took the car back, and it was not that far of drive. I think like it was not even an hour, but
Yeah,
it was
because
still, but it
we
was
did
still an
one
hour.
pit stop, and then we drove.
What pit stop did we do?
So there we did Black Sand Beach pit stop, and then afterwards we hit it.
Oh,
Green Sand
yeah,
Beach.
yeah.
That's why in your mind it's a short drive, but actually I think it is 2 hours.
Well, the thing is, when you arrive there on the parking lot to go to Green
Mhm.
Sand Beach, it's still an hour walk too.
Mhm.
So it takes a
Maybe
while.
you have to explain the parking situation first. at
Well,
Green
think
Sand
so.
Beach.
So we came from Volcano National Park, and like you said, we made a pit stop on a black sand beach. There was a lot of people there, but we stayed there for a while as well. Bought a necklace too that I lost. But then we went further on to actually basically the most southern point of Hawaii, not only from Hawaii, but the most southern point of the United States entirely. So, and I didn't realize actually because it's more southern than Mexico. But from the parking lot there, when you get out of your car, there's immediately a couple of people that come to you like, do you need a shuttle to go to the beach? And a lot of people just fall into that trap because they don't want to take a long walk, and they think like, okay, this seems legit. That's probably the thing that most people do. But like we noticed, we didn't do that. We did the walk to the beach, and it's an hour walk, but it's not a very tough walk. It's an hour walk. It's a long walk. But then we saw the trucks, the pickup trucks that drove there, the 4-wheel drives, and it didn't seem like comfortable at all. Like they were just standing on the rear of these pickup trucks, and they were just standing. They were not even sitting down, and they just really had to hold on to the car itself, because it just was so wobbly all of the times. So I'm glad we didn't do that, and we just had another couple of steps, of course.
Yeah, if you have to make the choice, just think, do I have the time or not? Because you will save time.
Yeah, you will save time.
But if you have all the time in the world, or you really planned it, just do the walk. It's a cool walk. It's very easy. Of course, it's 1 hour.
It's an hour, but it's I think it's a nice walk. And you can choose which way you go if you're on foot yourself. Like if you go by car, they choose the route for you. But if you're going by foot, if you want to do another route, you can do that. You can stay along the shoreline, but you can like cut into the route itself. But then when you arrive there, there's like you have a view on the beach, and it's like cut into the landscape. Basically, it's like a very smooth kind of rock formation around the beach. And when we saw it, you were like really enthusiastic. And that's also the thing. Like if you do this walk, you probably will enjoy being there even more because you just walked for a full hour.
So Hawaii is warm. You get very sweaty, but you know you're going towards a goal, so it makes it easier. But then I have to say, Green Sand Beach is one of my favorite spots of the trip. I said it before. It's definitely the best water I swim in Hawaii, which might sound weird, but it's just walking for an hour in the sun. It was pretty okay that day, so it was not overwhelming or something, but just having that physical activity. And then you see like this cool location. It has green sand. It actually does have.
Yeah, I was about to say, compared to Red Sand Beach, which was actually black sand, Green Sand Beach, if you look at the sand grains, it's actually green.
You can look it up on like Google, and the colors match.
Yeah, it is. Like I said, previously. We talked about this before. When you see on Google Maps like green sand beach, you're being a bit skeptical because you think like it will not be actually really green, right? So your expectations are pretty low because you don't expect it to be actually green. But it was more green than I actually expected. Like, don't expect it to be like some flashy green stuff or something like that. But you can see it has a greenish tint to it.
Unique.
It is unique.
It's unique. It looks good. It's like this cool rock formation, and then you go in the water. The water everywhere in Hawaii. One thing that I love about Hawaii is if it's hot and you want to go in the water, the temperature is just perfect. But there it felt even perfecter. I don't know why.
More perfect.
Yeah.
Perfecter.
Yeah, you understand. It's just cool to swim in as well. The waves have like the perfect intensity to just swim. There are no rocks.
In that beach, it was super comfortable.
Sand, so it's easy to walk in. Just so if the wave hits back, that is pretty strong.
The underflow,
the underflow is very strong because I fell on my ass twice. So I do know. But just like the combination of a very cool spot, a high intensity walk, even though it's a very easy walk to do, but it's...
Yeah, but I mean, we were on the road from like 4 a.m. in the morning and did a lot of walking that day already. So that's why.
That's why it might be more intense in my mind as well.
Of course.
And the whole combination of everything and me just loving the water and the location makes me so hard. Still about this, but you see me smiling right now. So
yeah, because I stayed there on the top for a whilst you were already...
I was like,
hey,
what is she doing? Just get in the water. It's amazing.
I don't wait. I don't wait for you. I'm going into the water right now. So, but it was a really comfortable beach, not only to swim in, but to walk on. The sand was really comfortable to be at, because there were some other beaches that like there were a lot of like bigger rocks instead of like soft sand grains. So that was nice. And you said like the water is really comfortable and really good when it comes to the temperature. But some beaches were like colder than others, though, right? And that beach was like very good for relaxing. That was
especially
nice.
At that point of the day, because if you do beach in the morning, it might be a bit colder, of course.
Yeah. So, but when we also did the walk back, and we met a guy from Austria then. And he stayed with us like the whole way basically, and we were like, "This is nothing from you, you're just used to walk in the mountains doing hikes and such." Like easy. So and then we got back, and we were searching, I think, for another spot to stay at, but then eventually we just drove back home.
Yeah, it was too late already.
It was pretty late already, and we were searching for a spot to see sunset, but...
Oh, yeah, I remember. So you had you had one beach written down that we could do, but then it was like very hard to access.
Yeah, it was... I didn't really find an entrance to the beach or a way to get there, or not at least with the car we had. So we just didn't.
We kind of needed to rest out because the day after... You had another crazy day planned.
Yeah. So we returned
it was to... It's the biggest island. Let's go around it.
So we did actually return at that point in time. And the thing is, like, that day that we just have done, we explored the southern part of the island. So... day after, we decided to, or I decided to
I have no say in all of this.
to explore the northern part of the big island. So so we returned to our accommodation, and the day after, originally I also was planning to do that with sunrise, because the first stop was called Rainbow Falls, and online it said like the best time to see this was during sunrise, the early morning sun, because it's at that point in time the angle sits just right to see a rainbow actually at the falls. But then when we woke up a bit later than planned, we saw that it was raining, it was cloudy, so it wouldn't actually make sense to already leave for sunrise because there is no sunrise. It was raining. So when we got to the Rainbow Falls, it was kind of a funny moment because we were there. I was like filming part like, look at this. It's like, usually this is called Rainbow Falls, but today is just Rain Falls.
Yeah.
So,
And it was.
yeah.
But it's a cool waterfall.
It was
It's
nice.
really
It's
good.
like,
So,
it's a touristy spot.
Yeah.
And there were not a lot of people because obviously it was
early, yeah.
it was pretty early and it was rainy, so
Yeah.
no people around.
I have written down dirty pants next.
Why? So the next pit stop was another waterfall that I had planned to do. Not too far, actually. It was really close to the Rainbow Falls. And when we arrived there, the fence was still closed. There was nobody there. It opened already. It opened like only after a certain point in time. And we were earlier. So I was about to just check it out. You were pretty tired still. So you were like, I'm just staying in the car for this one.
You dragged me to too much waterfalls to make me very excited about one. That's mediocre.
Well, thing is, like, I wanted to check it out, so I went there, and when I arrived at the like kind of viewpoint, you can see part of the waterfall, but it's like blocked. The view is like kind of blocked because of some other rocks before it, in front of it. But when I look beyond the fence of this viewpoint, I see like a path going down. So I thought, okay, there at some moment in time, there must have been some kind of route to that waterfall. So I'm gonna try and do that. So I had my flip-flops on and white shorts.
Yeah.
So I crossed the fence because there was nobody just there yet. And I tried to go down that path, but because it was rainy and slippery, I slipped exactly and fell on my butt on my white shorts. And so instead of white shorts, I got brown shorts because it was dirty.
Yeah.
Not because of the reason that you think it is, but like, so yeah, I got back and I thought like I will change shoes because it will be easier to go down that path. So I got back to the car. I'm like, dude, my pants are like dirty, so I have to change pants.
I did not shit them. It's just dirt.
I was not shitting.
Not shitting at all.
And not kidding. So I changed shoes, and by the time I got back to the viewpoint, there was already a guard like on the like entrance kind of. And when I was trying to cross the fence, he was like, hey, you don't need to go there. You're not allowed to there. So come back. And I was like, oh, damn, that's a bummer. So I just like fell on my butt for nothing, basically.
But lucky for you, we had another waterfall next to it.
Uh,
The Akaka Falls.
Well, next to it, like, it was a
little
small drive to it. So the next stop was exactly Akaka Falls. But when we arrived, there was like a parking lot, and there was some entrance fee there, and there was some kind of, path like around this area, kind of. And it ended with Akaka Falls, which was a really beautiful waterfall that we saw. Probably from Hawaii that we've seen. I was about to say the most impressive waterfalls, but then I remember another one that we saw a bit later on. So, yeah, we will talk about that later. But Akaka Falls was like, I think, 100 meters or even a bit higher. That was really beautiful to see. We didn't stay too long there, but just like we had the shots that we wanted. Yeah, so, and then we continued.
Very aesthetic looking, cool waterfall, very long in my eyes.
It was.
Fun. I will skip the two other stops because we really didn't get there, and it's already a bit
A lot of time, yeah.
But really, the next place we seen is one of your favorites.
Yeah, so we went pretty much to the top of the big island then, and we arrived at a place called Polulu Valley. So we parked the car there, and it was like you make your way down, basically. There's some pathway going down, and like it's a bit challenging because it's not an even road. There's a lot of rocks that you have to step over and like around
Well,
going
the-
down.
But it's pretty okay.
It's okay, but like just
Kids can do it.
I think the way up is like tougher,
Heavy, yeah.
like intensity wise, but like going down is tougher for your joints.
Mhm.
So just be aware of that. At a certain point during the way down, there's a place that you can really have a view on the valley, on the beach there, and it was already really really pretty. It's a black sand beach as well.
And it has like the cool mountain cliff things in the
Around it.
background, and
Yeah.
just an amazing view.
Yeah, so and we make our way back fully down into the valley. And again, like there's some kind of palm trees first that you get in between, and then you arrive at the beach, which is actually, you have another like small river kind of like that connects to the mainland, to the inland words, where you see like the forest and the jungle kind of like, but you arrive at the black sand beach with like these amazing mountains on the side as well. A really cool place to be at. There were some other people, but not too busy. And we had one of the like most unique and most amazing encounters with people that
Yeah,
we
for sure.
from the whole trip basically.
So, Nicole and Phil, your story is up next. Like I told before, I was doing the shooting strangers, and this one will still have to be posted because I still have to make it. But suddenly,
she already posted a couple of posts, right, about these
maybe,
pictures.
yeah.
Yeah.
But suddenly I see like a girl in a very unique white dress posing in front of her boyfriend. Well, I think it's her boyfriend. At that point of time, now we know it's her boyfriend.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that's a couple taking pictures. And those are good people to ask like, hey, can I take your photos of you because I'm doing this TikTok
Yeah,
thing?
the only risky
Yeah.
thing is that the boyfriend gets jealous because you
Yeah.
want to take pictures, but that was no
Because
issue at
they're
all.
already doing it. It's like very low pressure for them. And she was like from the beginning like, oh yeah, that's so cool.
She was really
yeah.
in the vibe,
Yeah. And I saw she was already posing good, so we were like, hey, you didn't done this before.
Yeah, we saw like I was thinking she already did some kind of dancing or gymnastics or whatever, because the way she moves
Yeah.
was very elegant.
Yeah, very elegant.
Elegantly. So yeah, it seemed like she would be a very good model.
I was like, yeah, can we try more? Are you open? She's like, oh yeah, that would be so cool. By the way, me and my boyfriend do this thing. It's called acro yoga, and I know it because shout out to my friend Scooby who does
Some
that
acro
as well
yoga.
in Belgium.
Yeah.
So I'm familiar with what they're trying to do. And then they're like, okay. They talk to each other. They're like, should we do this? Should we do that? And
Yeah,
then
we're just watching. Meanwhile, I'm just filming him
Yeah.
at this point in time, so I don't really know what is going to happen. But they're like talking to each other, and suddenly they do something, and we're like,
oh my God.
what?
The things you can do with a human body, like with two human bodies, of course.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, it was so cool to watch, so cool to capture. They were doing poses.
Some
like,
kind of stunts, some
at
lifts.
some point, they were doing, like she was doing a handstand on his hands.
Yeah, and we were like, "Oh my God, what is happening over here?" We're like thinking like this is one of the most amazing things we've shot like ever.
Yeah, at some point, and imagine as well. So this location is super stunning. So it just adds to the
Yeah.
experience.
It was
she's
so
doing, like,
cool.
The Titanic. She
Yeah, there were a lot of cool poses that really. And the landscape just made it even better, of course.
and
It was really
also
cool.
the thing that makes it better for me is they're very humble. Like both of them, like she has so much joy, and you see Phil like enjoying how much joy she has and doing these kind of things.
Yeah,
Their
like
interaction
I don't
just
think
works perfectly together.
we didn't expect at all like how much time we would spend there because they were like bringing up other ideas. They were
Yeah.
like, "Oh, can you do this? I want to try this." And like before you know it, you're like shooting for half an hour.
Yeah.
So
So it turned into a full photo shoot, but just the mindset of these two people, because as well they were actually coming to Hawaii to do acro yoga teachings.
they
'Cause
were
there
doing
was,
some
like,
workshops.
workshops. And it's just because they just let's go there for one day and then we do the workshops the next day. They were like, you can join our workshops. But really,
Yeah.
both of them actually, their spirit, how they were, how open-minded,
Yeah.
how welcoming.
They had a
It
lot
was
of fun. They were so friendly
how
too.
creative as well, and I just love creative people.
And yeah, exactly. Like they suggested us following one of their workshops, and I would actually have loved to do that
Yeah.
if it was not for another activity that we had planned the day after. But it was really cool to have met them, and we also have still some contact with them. Like I would say something from now and then against to Nicole or Phil. I see their stories passing by, so yeah, still so much fun.
So if you guys hear this, because it's long in the podcast, but I would tell you to skip it.
I mean, we can cut it up in some parts. I mean,
like, really, thank you for being so open-minded. It was so cool to meet both of you, especially in that location. So big shout out to the both of you. We did have to leave eventually because we wanted to do one more spot at sunset. That was Maui Beach. And you will never ever forget how to get there.
no. So, like, after that spot, no, you forgot one thing. Like, after that shoot, I was like, I still want to spend some time here in Palulu Valley on that beach.
He was jealous of all the content, so
I thought it was such a beautiful place. So I was like, I would regret it if I don't like film a bit of stuff here, right? So
and the tricky part was that it was slightly raining.
It was starting to rain, so you were like, we're not staying here too long anymore, and we're like,
but it's Hawaii, really, it will get over.
Yeah, that's one of the things too. Like, if it's raining, don't expect it to like keep raining. Sometimes it will rain, but it will stop again, even though you don't know how long it will stop either. But either way, so I asked you to if we are still able to like film some stuff. So I grabbed my guitar from Journey Instruments, which like is standing over there, but even though like people cannot really see it on the live stream right now, and it's a guitar that I got from Journey Instruments, and I took it with me on that beach too, in the water. Like, it was kind of sketchy, but so cool at the same time. The shots that you took were like super cool too.
About that, because I've been with my camera in the water so much times, I don't even realize like it's sketchy to go into the water with a guitar.
Yeah,
my mind is fucked up.
Yeah.
I don't know that anymore. So it was like a very normal thing for me to do, while you were like probably like, oh shit, I'm in the water with my guitar.
Yeah, I was. And the thing is, I'm on camera, so I cannot really show that I'm concerned.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm like, man, this is so cool, but it's risky, but so cool at the same time. And when I saw the shots, I thought that was totally worth it.
Because it's still tricky, because you can always, the water has such a heavy impact. And
yeah. Even though actually it was kind of okay. That beach
Yeah.
was not too wild. And I was not totally in the water.
A lot of rocks in the water too as well. So.
Yeah, it was just a little bit uncomfortable to walk a lot on the beach there, but it was okay. So that was really cool. So glad that we still took the time to take some shots there. And like you said, afterwards we went to another beach, more on the side of Kona, really close to the airport. And that was a cool beach as well. Like, to end it, like almost no people whatsoever, and it was like half an hour walk from the parkway lot, where we parked the car.
At some of the national parks, because we will talk about one more in KAUAI, you have these barriers that close at a certain time, so you can make two choices. Either you leave your car in front of the barriers so you can walk in, or you drive all the way. But online it already said like it's a tricky road for normal cars, and we saw some people do it, and like, they are crazy. They're just...
The thing is, so every time that we see a fence, and there's quite a couple of places like this, and for some reason they always just close the fence just before sunset, which is like a bummer, because all the people just want to stay until after sunset. But yeah, there's probably a reason for that. So when we see a fence like that, we often just try the beginning part of that, but at a certain point I was like, oh no, this is too sketchy. I'm gonna return and we're just gonna park here. And the good thing is when you're on foot, you can return any time you want.
Yeah.
Basically, because the fence doesn't really block people that go by foot, just only cars. So we parked the car. We went on by foot to the beach, and it was a really almost a remote beach. Had a really nice sunset too there, a couple of palm trees, a couple of benches too, and we took a couple of really nice shots as well, and one of the shots was like one of us running on the beach towards the water, and the other guy like following behind. We both did that, but when you followed me, when you were about to film me, I felt like I have my keys in my swimming shorts, so
Like
I was
a lot of stuff actually. You were like, oh,
yeah too, but like
phones in there and other stuff.
so I think like if I'm going to run towards the beach, something is going to fall out. So I thought like I'm gonna just place it on one of these benches and then do the running shot. But yeah, I didn't grab it back to put it into my pockets again because I wanted to take a time lapse from some other angle on the sunset. You wanted to take some shots as well from the sunset. It was really cool light there, because it was so close to the airport. The airplanes were really like flying low to the ground when they were flying over the beach. So and then we returned, did all the way back with all our stuff. And when we got to the car, we noticed that, or I noticed, I was like, bro, I don't have the keys with me.
Yeah.
And I was like, I know where they are. They're on the bench where I put them before we took the shot. And the funny thing is, just before we got back to the car, we met some other people that were by car on the beach and didn't know that the fence was closing at 7. So we were first warning them like, you're probably going to be before a closed fence. And exactly when we arrived to the car, we were first like, bummer, you're on a closed fence. And then we come to the car, I'm like, bummer, I don't have the keys. So
the funny part is like, it was not at the car, but like just at the fence. You were like around the fence. You were like, oh fuck.
Yeah, because I was thinking,
Sorry
I want
for
to. The thing is, when I was at a distance, I thought like I can already open the car, and then I was like, oh shit, I don't have the car keys. So and like you
I remember,
again,
this has been a very long day. So that was not the thing you wanted to do.
No, and
at that point, but
like a lot of other situations that we had where we had to find a solution, this was again one of them. And like I knew where they were, so I didn't have a choice. I was like, I'm gonna run back. It's only option. So yeah, and I started running because I wanted to just. I didn't want to walk another full hour on it, so I was like, I'm just gonna run, and I didn't want to make you wait for an hour, staying by at the car in the dark. So I was like, I'm gonna run. So the whole trip that we walked in an hour, the return trip, I did in like basically just over 20 minutes or whatever. So I was a bit tired when I got back, but good thing was like the keys were exactly in the spot where I put them, so I got them right away.
yeah.
And a good thing also because there was not any people on the beach, so that was like something that I didn't have to stress about.
And like to end the story on a funny note, later we looked at the footage and we actually see Yuri placing the key on the table. And I was like,
before the shot.
That's the moment.
That was really cool, yeah.
We did one more thing on the big island, and you were very hyped about it. It's called Mauna Kea. Sorry.
Like the one thing...
We lost the key and then we went to the key.
Kia. So... like I said, if you go to the big island of Hawaii, you have to do Volcano National Park, and the one other thing that you have to do is Mauna Kea. And those are probably the two most popular things to do on the big island. But Mauna Kea is the highest point of Hawaii, and technically, when you measure from the base of the mountain, which is on the bottom of the sea, measured up to the top of the mountain of Mauna Kea, it is the highest mountain in the world, over 10,000 meters. So it's quite a bit higher than Mount Everest when you start from the base of the mountain. But of course, like the highest point above sea level is at 4,200 meters, something like that. So that was the plan.
We didn't research it again.
Well,
like last time we were, we don't know. And
yeah, I mean, it doesn't really matter. It's like
it's about 4,000.
something around that. So our plan originally was to go to the visitor center, which is at 3,000 meters. And I was like, some of you guys will probably measure in feet, but we measure in meters. Yeah. We're from Europe, so sorry.
A lot of them are from Canada, and they know
how to measure in meters. So 3,000 meters, that was where the visitor center was at. And when you go to Mauna Kea, you have to stay there for at least half an hour. They actually make you stay there for half an hour. If you're not there for half an hour, you cannot go any further. No matter how you go to the top. Is it by on foot or is it by car, you have to stay there for half an hour at least. Our plan was actually to hike to the summit, to 4,200 meters ourselves, to see sunset on the summit. And thing was, when you arrived, we probably had time enough to walk to the summit to see sunset, but the thing was, when we asked these rangers there to go there, they didn't allow us because they wanted us to be back at the visitor center
before it gets dark.
Before sunset. So because when it gets dark and you have to walk down again, if something happens, they have to go up and save you basically and make a risky move themselves. Now, what reason is it that it's so risky? Is not really that it's such a dangerous road to there. It's just because of height sickness. Because at that height, people get sick easily. Certainly, if it's in a high, if you're doing like hard physical activity, like a big hike there, it can happen suddenly, and when it happens, it doesn't get better. You have to return immediately. So that's why we couldn't walk up or hike up the summit. So they told us like the only way you're getting up there is like if you find some people to drive with that have a 4-wheel drive, because you can drive up there, but you have to have a 4-wheel drive, which we didn't have. So yeah, we played some cards. Yeah. Until that time, and we found some people that took us to the summit. Some 2 Chinese people, which
we thought it was a couple.
We thought it was. They
were colleagues.
Yeah, I even thought until we were back down, but yeah, you told me they're not a couple like it. So they took us to the top, even though like it was a bit of a struggle because they had a 4-wheel drive, but they didn't know how to use it. So
they just rented the car one day. And even the rental company was like, do not do Mauna Kea. Because you really have to have a good car, especially for the way back. It's very hard on your brakes. So you need to know how to put it in first gear, because you can only drive back in first gear for safety reasons. Yeah. Even though I feel he went back in first gear.
Yeah, he went in first gear, but I think he hit the brakes like a lot too, because when we got back down, the ranger, measures everybody's the temperatures of the brakes, and they were pretty high.
We had to stay for 1 hour at least.
Yeah, we had to stay there for a bit. So, but actually, we did get to the top with them, and we stayed there for sunset. And like we mentioned it before as well, we talked about it. The volcano in Maui, the Haleakale, had prettier views during the day, but when we stayed there for the sunset, the colors were amazing, and it was really worth it. And it would have been like a bummer if you just like return before sunset, right? So
well, this is my view of it. Mauna Kea during the day, I didn't find it so impressive. It's like because the mountain is very, it's not a steep
Wide,
mountain. It's
wide,
a very
yeah.
wide mountain, even though it's very high. The views on top are cool, but are not spectacular per se.
It is unique in the sense that you have these huge telescopes
Yeah,
that are a
that is
bit
true.
like on different places, so it's very recognizable. But I also agree that like the one in Maui, I prefer a bit
Mhm.
that view during the day.
But then, because you're so high, when sunset hits, the colors are so intense, so colorful. Actually, it's like
Incredible, and also
and
you're above the
yeah,
clouds,
and
and something like it's not you're not guaranteed to be above the clouds actually, because we saw from people that we met afterwards in Oahu that when they went to the Mauna Kea, that it was like cloudy. The whole place was just cloudy. Then you don't see anything, and that's a bummer. So we were kind of lucky then that we have these amazing colors too.
yeah,
And
cool.
so one of the biggest things you have to take into consideration there is this height, is the heightness sickness. Because at a certain point, I have to go to the toilet there,
Mhm.
and you have like these kind of like I forgot the name about
It's
it
the
too.
like because I don't know the English name as well, but it's just like a toilet that you use on festivals. A lot of the time, that's the plastic things with like a hole in, and then
Yeah. Okay,
you
so
drop your things there.
yeah, you drop it there. So
So we were
um,
at a location that was like shuttered from the wind,
yeah, so we sheltered a bit for the
and it
wind.
was like a small road up a little bit to go to the toilet.
Yeah, and I had to go. So when I
He
have to
always
go,
has to
when I have to go, I have to go, and you cannot really like walk easily to the toilet. So it was urgent, so I ran towards the toilet, and it was like I don't know 100 meters or a bit more, not too much. But when I arrived at the toilet, I was like kind of out of breath and like feeling a bit high, like I don't know, I don't want to say high, but like lightheaded because of the thin air.
It's very
I
high.
was like, oh my
4,000
god,
meters.
I was surprised. I'm like, oh my god, this really has an effect on me.
The
So
highest you ever been.
yeah, literally, yeah. So yeah, it does have an effect. So you need to be careful not to
Mhm.
do heavy physical activities when you're that
Yeah,
high.
and I warned you because I walked the road down a bit and then walked back, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah. You really feel it.
I like I told you right then. I'm actually happy we didn't do the walk because I don't know if I would be able to have done it. Just walking this one street up,
Yeah.
and like how hard it was on my breath.
Yeah, we would have needed a lot of like gear, a lot of food and drinks and such, a lot of pit stops to acclimate. Sorry, to the height. But yeah, so we still had an amazing time to see the sunset, and then
So
after
pretty.
sunset, they actually just send you off back down because like the workers at the telescopes, they have to do their work at night for stargazing and such with the telescope, so you need to go back down. And so we did, and I think the driver, our main driver, was pretty stressed out, I think, on the way back down.
I would be too, though.
But luckily we were not alone. Like there were a lot of people going down, and eventually we got back safe, and we stayed at the visitor center for a while because we tried to see some of the stars as well, because it's very well known for stargazing there too. But the unlucky thing that we had going on there is that there was a very bright moon going on. So which takes away a bit of the experience with the stars. You see less of the stars because of the amount of light the moon is giving. If there's like new moon in which you don't even see the moon, basically, there's a lot more visible apparently. Plus, I had some bad luck with my camera too.
From the big island to the most pretty island I've ever seen in my entire life. The reason you wanted to go to Hawaii,
Yes.
the reason why I love Hawaii so much, like I do, is because the next thing we visited is
KAUAI.
KAUAI. Oh my god.
Yeah. So that's probably one of the main reasons, like you said, that Hawaii was so high on my bucket list to see. Because I've seen a couple of spots, like pictures and videos from KAUAI, and this is just like, it seems so amazing and unreal. And still it seems familiar because it is used in films like Jurassic Park and such. It is just incredible. When we arrived there, the first day, we didn't do much. We went for food and went to a beach, chill out a bit. But the first full day, we've planned a helicopter flight. And like, we don't do that often. We only did it before that one once, and that was above the Grand Canyon in Arizona 6 years ago. And because that was the first one, it was really cool to see and very special for us. But after doing this one, the one in the Grand Canyon was nothing compared to this. Not only were the sights like more spectacular, but the way the pilot like flew was incredible. Like, it was an experience. It was like an attraction on a roller coaster almost. He made sure, like, no matter where you were in the helicopter, you saw everything from the whole like flight. Basically, it was so cool.
I think you said it in the previous podcast. If you want to do something on your first days, like do the helicopter flight, because it will give you so much insight of the island. You will see so many spots that you can never see by being a tourist.
Yeah, because there's so much of the island that is inaccessible other ways.
Like one family has a big part of the island, and they don't want to make the island touristic, or like get tourists and ruin the nature there.
Mm-hmm.
So getting a helicopter flight, you will see a lot of authentic nature just right in front of you. Everything looks so stunning. It's from an angle you will never experience otherwise.
No.
Yeah, you cannot go up so high like this. And like a helicopter is very flexible. And so we booked it with Safari Helicopters, and we have to give a lot of props
Yeah,
to
such a nice
our
company.
pilot there, because like Yuri said, he like took, like, if you have a mountain, he like cruises around
Into the
it,
valley.
and he does it in a certain way that everyone gets to see all the spots that are mind-blowing.
Yeah.
So like,
I
for
was-
example, there is one of the best known spots of the island
on
is
KAUAI.
like the
No,
waterfall from Jurassic Park. So
Yes.
it's called Jurassic Falls, and you suddenly hear the tunes
Yeah,
of
it's so
Jurassic Falls.
so cool. So they
going
know
in
they
the
know
helicopter.
they know a lot of people, of course, have watched Jurassic Park, and it's one of the main things that draws people towards KAUAI, I think, too. And the Jurassic Falls that we see in the first movie of Jurassic Park, where they land with the helicopter. When you get to that waterfall, they actually play the music from Jurassic Park, which is a very nice touch, so that the people know, oh, this is from Jurassic Park. So even people that didn't know it probably realize at this point, oh my God, this is from Jurassic Park, right? So a really cool view to have. Plus, also the thing is, the reason that we did it on the first full day, before we did anything else, is because you have a general idea of how the island is divided and where what is. So, and you had like a perspective of the island too. And it's just the best perspective you can have of the island, the best all-round trip that you can have. It is not too long. It's like 1 hour, I think.
A bit longer.
1.5 hours? I don't know. Of the whole flight, and you fly around the whole island, so you basically see everything that island has to offer from above.
Yeah, so you do see Waimea Canyon, and I tell you, he flies through the canyon as if you're like flying,
As a bird.
Yeah.
And
And
that
you
surprises
see all
me
those
that
cool spots.
that the
And-
helicopter is that flexible. I was surprised.
And a bit sick, but
I mean, no, that was like the last part, but whatever.
and also, while he is flying, he's like, oh, let's give me you a nugget of information about that spot. Let's give me your information about that spot. So you get all these cool things you want to know about an island. He gives you all this inside information, and then you see
Really
Waimea
interesting.
Canyon, Napoli Coast from an angle that you never get to witness.
No, exactly. So
We
interesting.
will come back to Napoli Coast, but
Yeah,
Napoli Coast
yeah.
always gets me exciting. And then just everything.
That was amazing.
Safari helicopters. I do recommend them.
Yeah, also, but just
So
also
cool.
because when we went to the place to start our tour there, it was like you're sitting on a couch. It's like basically a living room as well, like where the desk is, like a very cozy place. Like you wouldn't really think it as
Cool
an
map of
office.
the island.
Yeah.
I remember you
Oh
being
yeah,
impressed.
a 3D map of the islands there. Really cool. But that was probably one of my favorite activities from the trip too.
Yeah, in the last podcast you said that was the main thing you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but you asked
Yeah.
then too, like, what is your your favorite thing that we've done, and that was definitely up there. And it doesn't take that much time. It is not cheap. It is pretty expensive. It's like 280 euros, dollars, euros, whatever, per person.
But it's still affordable.
But it's definitely worth it. It's definitely worth it. Like if you're doubting because of this price, just do it. Just do it. You won't regret it at all.
Well, if this didn't get you convinced, nothing will. So, like I told you, we flew through it like we were birds. But the next thing we saw was the Waimea Canyon itself. You said it. It's the tropical version of the Grand Canyon, just a bit smaller. But the Grand Canyon is so
Huge.
huge.
Yeah, it's the Grand Canyon of the Pacific. They call it, and so it's a.
If you ask me, pick one, I'll pick Waimea.
Yeah, Waimea is like more beautiful. It's more colorful. Like you say, it's more tropical. It's a tropical version of the Grand Canyon.
Intenser colors. You have a waterfall here and there.
So beautiful.
I think it's a bit more edgy as well, but that my memory of Grand Canyon might be too far away.
Don't know about that because perhaps Grand Canyon was a bit of a bigger scale too. Although I think it's the second biggest canyon in the United States either way, but so impressive too. But like you said, we're gonna come back to some of these spots later on too. And like you said, I think that was the same day that we still did Waimea, right? So later that day, we did actually drive to the Waimea Canyon. I'm messing up big time.
That's
so
funny
we
because I did it in the beginning. I thought you were doing it now.
So we drove to the Waimea Canyon later on that day, and had some awesome spot we stopped at. And the thing is, like, you have to pay some parking fee, I believe, but it's for all the parking lots around this area.
You have a few viewpoints they select where you can park your car as well, and then you pay once for parking and you can use them all. Like, you do them, you see the views, they are cool because, of course, otherwise they wouldn't put a parking spot there.
Yeah.
But sometimes you can go off-road
and find more impressive places.
Just go with your guts. If you see something and you can park your car, do it because it's pretty safe. And
yeah, sometimes you just
cool
if you think this looks cool and you can put your car there, just do it. Just stop. There's nothing wrong with doing that and just trying. And if it's nothing at all, then okay, we try it and just move on. But we stopped at a couple of spots that we were like, oh, we're glad that we stopped here. So yeah, really cool.
And we ended at I didn't write it down this time. I think it's the
Kalalau
lookout part.
Yeah.
So I looked up online because I'm such a good researcher. Best.
The thing is, the names of all these
names
in Hawaii are hard to pronounce, and to remember.
Very similar, like they have the same kind of word
style, the same style, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
It's been a long. We've been talking for quite a while, right? But it was supposed to be one of the best views at sunset. When we get there, we get something we had in Iceland
too.
Well.
Like it was a deja vu because when we arrived, there was no view at all. It was covered by mist totally, so you couldn't see a thing, basically. And we've had this in Iceland as well. And I filmed like a funny sketch as a like memory or like some kind of throwback to Iceland, where I say like, this is supposed to be a viewpoint, but as you can see, there's not a lot to see here. And like in Iceland, we've experienced as well. If you wait for a while, it might just clear up.
Mhm.
And whilst we did wait a while, it didn't really seem it would clear up at first. But then I went further down to a
You
path
saw
that
some
actually
people walking, right?
I saw some people that came from below, but like over the fence, like next to the fence. I was like, oh, that seems interesting. I'm gonna try and make my way down there as well. And you just returned to the viewpoint. But I went further down, and I'm so glad I did, because I went to a point that had no fence at all. So remember, guys, again, so be aware of the danger that is there, or the risk that you take. Because I knew that, like, it's not a path that they lay out for you, but there is a path. So I took the path there, and there's no fence. So just be careful. If you do something like this, just be aware that it's on your own risk, at your own risk. But I'm glad I did, because I had one of the most amazing views as well on the whole island, probably. And as it cleared up, you saw all the ridges of the Nepali coast again. And the sunset was basically behind the corner, so you didn't really saw it on the horizon. But still, it was such an amazing view. And you had probably a good view as well, as I was sitting there.
I had a cool view. For me, the view... So I stayed up. Well, he did his crazy things, going over fences you cannot climb. And suddenly, they were like, hey, look at that dude there. I was like, that will be Yuri. And like, just chilling on the top of one of the mountain tops is like a small dude, like, because you're far away.
Yeah.
Just like chilling. Just being the king of his mountain, you know, like someone is meditating on the top piece of a mountain. It was such a fun view to see. I hope I have a good picture of it.
That would
I
be
still didn't
awesome.
edit them, but yeah, it was just so relaxing to see you there. It was like you were in peace with the mountain. while you
It
were
felt
just-
so good
yeah.
too. Like, I was just enjoying that moment to the fullest. Like, the thing is, those moments, some people think like, do you take some time to enjoy it, or do you only take pictures or take videos? I'm like trying to combine it. Just like I was setting up like
I do
my
think we got better at combining everything, though.
I think so too. But like I set up my GoPro for a time lapse, so you can let it do its thing, and then whilst just enjoying the view and what is happening, because it just shifts so quickly.
So quickly.
So quickly.
A
So
little bit,
quickly.
A little bit of Dutch in there. Yeah, but it was cool seeing you there, being majestic, being relaxed. And yeah, like I said, I feel like we take more time to... We are in this... We booked this trip. We paid to see some things. Now take your time to actually enjoy them.
Yeah, I feel like in Hawaii, like we had some bad luck too, but we did take it a little bit slower than usual when it comes to like enjoying the place without rush. That's also partially because it's all islands, and that we stayed at the same accommodation for like 5 nights, so you can still make some changes from where you go, which day. Which in other trips, if you do really a road trip and every day you go further towards another point, it's harder to do that because you cannot really switch places, switch days, right? Yeah.
The next day, well, actually 2 days later, you had something planned that you wanted to do the entire trip. If you go to Hawaii, you have to do one thing absolutely.
Like go for a surf lesson, like.
And I was a bit concerned about it because I don't like swimming a lot. I do like it in Hawaii, I have to say. Swimming there in the seas is just so relaxing, so warm water, so cool. But I've felt a bit like tension to go there because
Yeah, you were
I'm
not
not
really.
sure if I would enjoy it.
Yeah, if you were ready to
Mhm.
do that, like, and it was like you said, it was 2 days after, but it was actually planned the day before.
Mhm.
But because of the waves that were not like ideal, they rebooked it for the day after. And it was super chill. The guy that taught us, there were two other dudes with us, like young guys, that were also in that class. So we were with 4 people that he was teaching, and we started on land, like on the grass, one board. And this guy has just this chill vibe. So we were just relaxed from the beginning. And like if you just listen for a little bit and try, he will give some advice, and it's not too hard to understand what he says.
Yeah.
And then afterwards you go to the beach. You each take your own board and into the water.
Go for it.
You paddle towards him. He says, okay, waves is coming. He pulls you forward. He says, start paddling now. And when you feel it, you just do like we saw and step on the board. And it worked really well.
I was so surprised by that.
Yeah, you
I'm
were
like,
like, oh my God,
This is
I didn't
easy.
know I could do this. So it was really
because-
fun.
To put it in context, like from the first wave he pushed us in, we both got up.
Yeah,
I made it till the end, but not
quite.
Yeah, you got it on camera, but like very far
Yeah,
all the way. And I think the second one I did all the way,
yeah.
which is crazy if you learn something.
Yeah, I
It's
think
like-
the hardest part was just when you arrived at the beach, like controlling your board
Yeah.
there, because the waves coming in and your board is like flipping over you. But yeah, so it worked out pretty well. And I started actually with the GoPro on my hand. I got a shot from myself, like standing on my board, which I probably will use as well. And then afterwards I just put it away and just like concentrated on like repeating it a couple of times.
and it's super cool. Like if you can,
It is a lot of fun to
Yeah.
do.
if you can stand up, it's super cool.
If you can stand up, like it is nice to try, but if you keep trying and it doesn't work, it's really intense too. Like it's like hard if you have to pedal all of the
Yeah.
time. Like, but it was cool because we didn't really have to go that far into the
No.
sea either with him. So that was nice, and our thought process was like, okay, we probably should do this once more.
Yeah.
So I think like we've done Hawaii right now, but I don't think it is the last time that we will take a surf lesson when we're on vacation. I think we might do it on other trips as well, because we had so much fun, and we thought we might try to do it on Oahu when we're back there, which we did as well, and we will return to that as well. But it didn't turn out that great then. But let's.
Our first experience with surfing, and
It
really,
was really cool.
if you pick a good company that learns you,
That teaches you.
it's the best.
Yeah, don't do it by yourself the first time. Like, take a lesson, because otherwise you're just gonna suffer. It's
I
just
don't even think people do it without one lesson.
yeah, you never know. Like
Yeah.
if you're in a hostel and they like rent out some
Yeah.
boards and you've never took a class, and they're like, okay,
Yeah,
for
that's right.
$15 I can just use a board, and I don't have to take a class. They probably have situations like that, but I don't advise it.
But really, like as a person who was very skeptical about it, just do it. It's fun, man. It's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, we
I
did it.
loved it.
We did it in KAUAI, and it's probably not the most well known for the surfing. I think most people go to Waikiki and Honolulu to surf. But there are so many spots in Hawaii that you can surf and take surf classes. So I mean, no matter what island you're on, there are opportunities to do it. So yeah.
Talking about spectacular things, one of the next things we did as well that day was also one of my favorite beaches, and one of yours as well. So we went to a national park that is called Polehale.
So that was like, I don't know what we expected from this, but I saw online that at a certain point during this drive to that beach, there was a part that there was a fence that's also closed at 7, first of all, but also the path after that, it said like 4-wheel drive is advised. and emphasis on advised, because it's not
Required.
required, but they advise it. So I was like, I hope we get there. So we drive in. We didn't have a 4-wheel drive, but we tried it, and actually it was like you have to concentrate, but it's doable.
Yep.
It's doable. So we made it to the beach there. I think it was like 45 minutes to an hour drive when we went like going there.
But you were very careful.
And I was very careful, took my time for it. And when we got there, we parked the car. And because of this path to there were not a lot of people at all. So we parked our car. And first there were some dunes where you go through. And then you arrive at the beach. Also, like we said about the beach in Oahu, a very wide beach. But the views were more spectacular than there. Like also these cliffs on the side, and a very long beach, and so remote. That is also one of my favorite places of the whole trip. Too bad, like I said before, these fences that close at 7. Too bad that we couldn't stay for sunset because we were there by a car and we had to be back before the fence closed. So too bad for that, but I mean, no regrets for going there at all. Like that was so much fun.
Sure. Because it's like so stretched out and less people. You have like a private beach of 100 meters just
For
all
yourself.
for you. Good water. The water is so, like I said, with Greensand Beach, same kind of water there. Also very easy to get in the water. The sand is
Very comfortable, yeah.
You fell on. You did a video where you
A stunt, yeah. I played the stuntman for a moment there. So we had a lot of cool shots actually there. And when you arrive on the beach, you see like these tire trails, tracks, because some pickup trucks like drive over the sand there, and you have like some of these fishermen like every couple of 100 meters. There's like a car or a tent or whatever, and I was like, I want to film some shots with the GoPro. Like, can you run behind me and I'm gonna like jump over this like drop in the sand towards the sea.
One less dune before the sea.
Yeah, basically like a dune, but without the grass.
Yeah.
So I was like running as fast as I could. You were following me with the GoPro, and I was jumping like, and I just stomped in, and you were like, you should run into the sea, like continue and run into the sea. I'm like, that's a good idea. So I tried again. So we did that shot again. I jumped. And I wanted to go run on, but instead I fell and did like some kind of roll. I don't know, but it was kind of funny to see. Yeah.
And you hear me laughing. Well,
yeah,
that's funny.
But it was nice though, nonetheless.
One thing you should do on Kauai. You know what's coming, right?
Yeah.
One thing you have to see, and we saw it already in the helicopter, but Napali Coast. Woo!
Yeah, that is one of the most impressive views ever that I've ever seen. And like you said, we've seen it from the top in the heli, but we decided to book a tour on a catamaran to see it from the sea. And this catamaran was like a tour from like 2 in the afternoon, and it was like for 5 hours that we would be on the sea. And it was included with drinks and like cheap champagne, whatever, food, together with a couple of other people. But that made it so much fun, and it was a really cool like ride to get there. And like Napali was the end destination before returning. A really wild boat ride, even though like the captain was like. It was a pretty easy ride, this one. Yep. But if you know what a catamaran is, and you stand on the front pillars like of the catamaran, that goes up and down a lot, like over the waves.
You have no idea how strong the sea is. Like not at all.
That is crazy.
Until you do something like that, and that might even be like just a small part of how powerful the sea can be.
Of course, yeah.
But just like hitting the waves on the boat, and you stand in front of the boat, you feel the water splashing on your face. It's such an experience. And Like that's not even seeing Napali coast. That's just being on the boat.
That's the ride
such
to it,
a
and that
crazy experience.
the boat ride itself just made it worth it. Like, and to end at Napali coast is just the icing on the cake, right?
Yeah.
So that was an amazing experience. And everybody just feels the same thing, and that's so cool as well. Everybody knows how they feel because we all feel the same thing. I mean, at certain points,
at the good
but
moments, at the bad moments, like when the water is splashing you very hard, you see someone next to you.
Yeah.
I'm feeling the same. Yeah, like you say, it's an experience you also have together. Because we met one very cool couple as well on the boat.
Yeah.
Mika, who was the first one to sit like in an area where you, like from the start, you
yes,
get
like
soaked.
in between the sides of the catamarans, you have like these nets kind of where you can sit on. And she was in the best spot to get wet.
Yeah. And she was like, I'm staying here. I like it here. I just loved her spirit. Like from the moment she did that, I was like, oh, you will be someone I will get along to. And that's funny. And then so we did the boat trip, and then at the end, of course, we have to say something about Napali coast.
Well, I think we have a couple of other things to say before we get to the Napali coast. Yeah, because like all these snacks that we had, right? So I was at the front of the catamaran, like basically the whole time, and going there. And at a certain point, like you came up and brought some like pineapple. You had some snacks with you. And I was like, cool, thank you, man. And so at the point in time that
I have the snacks, and it's like a bit of sausage, and then I brought pineapple for you because I don't eat pineapple.
He knows I love it.
Yeah. So I was like, I will bring this for Yuri. And then I just see the sausages flying away. I was like, Yuri, come
I was just thinking I didn't even know you brought sausages because so they flew off.
So, and I turn my head, and I just see my glasses flying, and they don't even hit the deck or nothing. They just fly straight into the water. And he's like, bro, did your glasses just...
I just said, like, I saw some glasses flying. You were like, those were mine. I'm like, oh my God, you're not serious.
Yeah.
And like, I thought first that it was like hanging on your shirt, but you said, no, they were on my head. I was like, it just flew off your head.
And that tells you how strong the wind can be, at least.
Yeah, and the water too as well.
Yeah.
So that was a bit of a bummer at the point in time. But I mean, yeah. I mean,
I have new ones
right now, like. And the thing is, like, you still enjoyed the hell out of the trip.
Luckily, I'm not super blind.
Yeah, it's just
imagine you have -4.
Oh, probably, yeah. That would be a disaster.
Yeah. So I have -175, so I can still see things, luckily.
Yeah, okay. So, and then a bit further on during the boat ride, I saw something. I mean, you didn't.
Everyone saw.
Yeah, everybody saw something, but the guys, of course, the captain and the other staff is very experienced in these kinds of situations and stuff. So they know kind of when there are like dolphins and such come in. And at a certain point, they slowed down because they knew there were dolphins coming. And at a certain point, we see like in the distance a bit like one dolphin jumping, like, and we're like, oh my God, we were like impressed already. And then a bit later on, there started popping up a couple more, and still a couple more, and they're getting closer to the catamaran. So, and suddenly at a certain point, there were like 20 dolphins like just in front of the catamaran, like just 2 meters in front of you. So everybody was freaking out.
Yeah.
Like, that was amazing. I got them on camera too, and I loved it.
And they're so friendly and so joyful.
So joyful, playful.
Yeah.
So they really wanted to swim with the boat.
Yeah.
Because like they can easily just swim away, but just they purposely stay with the boat, and that's so cool as an experience. And it's something that some people think, you're so lucky to have seen that, but I think it's very regularly that they have this. It's not a unique experience, but it's still something that we are not used to see.
Yeah, of course, because
I mean, we don't have that here, so
yeah, and you're not on boat. Like not
Yeah,
everyone
of
is on
course.
boat.
Yeah, too. That's the case. And then a bit further on, not yet exactly on the main side from the Nepali coast, but just before it, they give some explanation as well. And again, it's about a place, a spot in the in these mountains, the cliffs, where that they use also, where the helicopter flies into the cliffs. And also, in this point in time, they've played the music from Jurassic Park, also because they know it's such a touristic spot that they can like use for that. But then we get to the Nepali coast itself, and like we see it now from a lower perspective, which is like insane as well. Like the upper perspective is crazy because you're in the air, for God's sake. But if you're looking from the water, you really see how huge these cliffs are. And even then they make a comparison, because they said like, guys, do you see that rock over there, like on those cliffs? That rock is 20 feet, and we're like, oh wow, that is crazy. So that you have some kind of idea how big these cliffs actually are, these ridges.
Yeah, and
incredible.
Like, one part is called the cathedral because it actually looks like a church, like the framework of a church, but
and
made
also
by nature.
And also because
And
actually there were some weren't there some tombs that they said from
so
actual.
the cathedral is one part, and then you have like this big cove.
Yeah.
That has like very high ends, and the
This
story
valley,
goes
yeah.
that like the previous kings of Hawaii were buried there, so they pick out one warrior. He climbs down, puts it at a spot that nobody will find, and then he just jumps off them. So actually, nobody can ever find the remaining parts of the kings.
It's crazy story, but yeah. So it's cool that they give some lore behind it too.
Yeah, for sure.
So, and actually the whole way to that point, I enjoyed it so much.
Yeah, you were up front all the time.
Yeah, I was at the very top of the catamaran the whole time, and I would do it again. Like I said it afterwards too. On the way back, I got a bit sick, even though I didn't have to throw up, but I was feeling sick. Like, so I went to the back for the ride back. But I mean, I saw all the things that I needed to see on the tour, right? And apparently the ride back was even worse.
Yeah.
So it was not a bad decision for me to stay in the back of the catamaran. And the thing was, I was in the back, and I had perfect sight on the sunset as well. So I just stayed there, grabbed my camera there, and took some pictures and some shots from the sunset until we got back to the shore.
Mm-hmm. And as I said before, huge shout out to Mika because you were gone.
Yeah, she was.
But like from the moment I met her, sometimes you meet people and you're like, oh my god, we will be friends.
Yeah.
And I just had that with her. We like the same things. She's also a teacher. She likes cycling as the only girl I know. I feel she didn't like Wout
I know
van
a
Aert
couple
so
of
much.
other
So
people.
that's the only bad part about her. She likes Van der Poel more than Wout van Aert. How can you, Mika?
Well, if you're, probably not a lot of people that. I mean, some people will get it, but
Yeah. But yeah, her spirit, her like even she was there with her husband, and he was also cool.
she was
like,
very caring.
yeah.
So at a certain point, she saw that
she
I was
like,
sick.
Where's your friend? I was like, yeah. So sometimes when it's like a lot of movement, he gets sick. So now he's like staying in the back.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, I should help him.
So she grabbed some medication for me, against seasickness. So yeah, still thankful for that.
Yeah, and then she got me some medication, a good drink.
Yeah, that works for you then.
But yeah, like if you can do it as well, because that's another expense you have to take. But the catamaran tour, it's
unique, so unique.
One of like just being on a catamaran itself, it's like
a cool
I think
experience.
we said it's like a roller coaster, but like 4 hours and with like natural forces pulling you.
Yeah.
And hitting you, and it's so unique to.
But it is
especially there because the water is different. I feel.
too, but it is it is very important to know though, if you know in advance that you have like issues with seasickness, it is something to reconsider too, because if you
I would
cannot
even say, like,
stand,
if you get car sick very easily.
yeah, if you cannot stand staying on a boat, it perhaps can be less of an enjoyable ride. I was very happy because actually half of the ride I was good to go. Like I've seen everything. It's just on the way back that I got sick. But if you're like on the boat and like after 10 or 15 minutes you start to get sick, oh my god, that must be hell, because it's like still 4 or 5 hours to go, and you cannot really enjoy anything then. So I got lucky on that part, and like I said, I would do it again, but just be aware of that.
For sure. And we ended the beautiful island of Kauai with a little hike. So you have to know one thing about traveling with Yuri. Every time, and he will keep doing this, he puts in one hike that almost kill you or you're dead or whatever the fuck. And I knew it was this hike. So I was scared of it. And he said, yeah, I really want to do here in Kauai is the Blue Hole Walk or the Weeping Hole
Weeping Wall, yeah.
Walk. And I looked it up online. I was like, oh shit. So it cannot rain for 2 days because it's very hard.
Risky, yeah.
Floody and stuff. I'm like, he's crazy again. Something weird will happen.
Oh no, his crazy moments again.
Yeah, it cannot rain. It needs to be sunny. And like for us, the last 2 days were sunny. So like, if you really want to do it, I think now is the last day is like
only option.
A good day to do it. And yeah, it was sunny that day. So here I was, a bit scared.
Like. What I like so much about traveling a lot, and you know this about me, I always like searching for these hidden gems, the less touristy places too. I also love the touristy places because they're touristy for a reason, but it's always nice to have some hidden gems that nobody knows about, because not a lot of people from Hawaii either know about this. So when I search for like best views in Hawaii, waterfalls, hidden gems, and I stumbled upon this, and it's like I see these pictures of like this valley, kind of like this mountain ridge with all waterfalls pouring down. I'm like, that's an amazing view, and it must be like pretty inaccessible, and so it was, because not a lot of people do this hike. And I found luckily some kind of blog, because because we have some of these experiences, like in Iceland, for example, where we almost bite the dust. And I was not prepared at all. And I thought for this one, I should at least search for a bit of directions this time, so that we have some kind of idea where we're going. So I searched for a blog, and glad we had that, though. It was sometimes searching, is it actually correct or not? But I'm glad we had the blog, because it was sometimes at least helpful. And it was a very long hike, the longest
we ever did, I feel, except maybe one time in Iceland.
Probably. But it was a hard hike.
It was the most, well, the one in Iceland was also very exhausting.
Yeah.
But, it's hard because you have to cross a lot of rivers, and you're never really sure you're following the right path, because there is no path. It's just follow the river up. And I think we went wrong for the first 2 hours because we took a smaller side river that we followed.
Yeah.
And that really exhausted me.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, there is a path, but because you have to cross the river, you're not sure where to find the path on the other side. Like, it's sometimes guessing, and they say, like, you can eventually just follow the river, but it's not easy to just follow a river. Sometimes you just have to go in the water, and you're like deciding, okay, does this seem like a safe place to cross? Is this kind of sketchy? So that was, and the hardest part is always going there. Yeah. Returning is always a little bit easier, at least. But going there, we had to stop sometimes to drink or eat something because it is exhausting. And we took some wrong turns sometimes, but eventually we got to a certain waterfall, and I mean, I should return actually, because we first met 2 people that were returning from that waterfall, and they were not going all the way, right? So we got to the waterfall, and you were like, man, I'm done with this. I'm not going any further than this. And I'm like, but this is not what it's supposed to be. So I was like, oh my God, this is a
Not
bummer.
the final destination. But it was already... So you do have to know, it's also very hard, because if it gets dark, it's too dangerous, because you are crossing water and...
In the dark, oh my God. I cannot imagine doing that.
So we were kind of at the time limit, and I knew I didn't have the energy anymore to go very hard on like difficult paths, because we went up a waterfall, and then I was I cannot even climb this anymore.
Yeah.
It's getting too dangerous for me. But I know you wanted to see, and we did have 1 hour march, I feel.
The thing was, I said if I'm not back within 1.5 hours, I think. I said like call 911, but like we didn't.
Knowing very well there is no reception.
Oh, I didn't realize. I didn't realize when I said it, but it makes sense. But so
that's the other thing about Yuri. He always takes you on hikes where there is no reception.
Well, so I decided to go, and I hurried as fast as I could, and I think it was a good idea that you stayed behind, because there was some challenging stuff there, like climbing up some rocks with ropes that were there that were very slippery, which was a lot of
very adventurous,
which was a lot of fun, but it's it could end badly. It could end badly, really. But eventually I got to the spot that I knew, okay, this is correct. I can follow this on the blog, and I'm going through this this little like door in a fence. So I eventually got to a certain point that I thought, okay, this is actually where I should see it. But because it was pretty dry, there was not so much like waterfall to be seen there. There were like a couple of smaller waterfalls a bit lower, but I was a bit bummed out, because I thought, well, yeah, that's partially the effect of it being dry. It is safer, but there's not too much else to see then at the end point. And it was a nice view, don't get me wrong, but it's not at all what you saw on the pictures then. So I think if you want to see it in its full glory, then you have to make sacrifices when it comes to safety, which is like a very important decision that you have to make. So, and we decided to take a more safer approach. Good decision though. Yeah. But like on the way back, like we were so glad when we had like some paved road again.
Yeah.
We're like, oh my God, dude, we're back on land.
But you have to know, we walked from, I think, 10 in the...
It was 9 in the morning, I believe, and we were back at like 7 in PM.
And you walked all those hours? Like you only took a 30-minute midday break?
Yeah.
And I walked 2 hours less because I waited for you.
Yeah, and like guys, my big toes are still blue because of like me slipping on those rocks in the river and between rocks. Like my
well, it's blue hole for a reason.
Oh, blue hole my ass. It was blue toes instead. No, but like I'm glad we did it, but it was less of a.
You had higher expectations.
I had a bit more higher expectations of it, but I understand why it was. So yeah, glad we did it, but it was not the highlight of the trip.
I just knew it was the kill hike.
Yeah, it was though.
My feet are still dead from it, probably.
But that was the last activity
KAUAI.
on Kauai.
But for sure, if you visit Hawaii, Kauai is really, really, really the place to be.
Yeah,
it's one of nature's most beautiful gems.
That's the thing. Like if you go, if that is from the 4 islands that we've done, I'm pretty sure it is the least visited, but it's Guys,
Wow.
if you go to Hawaii, don't miss out on Kauai. Just do it.
Even though it's very expensive to book a place there.
Accommodation?
The accommodation was the most expensive one of the all islands, but
It is, but guys, don't miss out on it.
Yeah,
If you
it's-
go to Hawaii and you don't have the time to do like all these 4 islands, because I know not everybody has the
to
time
be-
to visit all 4 of them. But if you fly to Honolulu and you have time to do one more island, do Kauai. Do Kauai. I'm
Yeah.
serious.
But yeah, that was the end of this, and then we had one more trip back to Oahu.
Yeah, I decided to stay a couple more nights in Oahu, like at the end as well, just to be a bit more relaxed. And we decided not to rent a car there either, just because we just wanted to take it easy those last couple of days.
But the last island is actually a big story of us connecting with one
Other
amazing group
people.
of friends,
Yeah.
and me with another girl as well. But
That was a bit of a darker history there.
so we went back. I had a date planned. You had.
I didn't have anything planned, but
planned.
you said you had a date.
Mhm.
So I was like, well, yeah, what
we
should I
should
do
run
now? Right? So I eventually I got a date as well there. And it was at the same night.
Mhm.
And for you it was just 1 hour earlier than with me. So we went our own separate ways there. And yeah, pretty early in the evening you already said like I'm not coming home tonight, like.
I'm doing a Hawaii adventure.
Yeah, so and I was like, oh my god, like congratulations, like good.
But apart from the congratulations and all those kind of things, because we are talking here more about the people we meet.
Of course.
Sarah, oh my god, you are so cool. I love the whole night. It's cool when you can do certain experiences together with someone you meet and you connect very well and you have fun. You do crazy shit. You will some things are the moments you will always remember in your life, and that will be for me, even though I'm a bit fake. Of course, but that will be always for me like a very cool experience that I will never forget. So I'm
Yeah.
super grateful you were there, that you're so cool.
Yeah, I have never
Yeah.
skinny dipped before, so.
Yeah, that's one part of it.
Yeah.
But also like if you have a chance to do like crazy bucket list things you want to do,
Yeah.
just go for them, man.
Of course, yeah.
Don't hold back.
But
200%. Go for them. Enjoy them.
yeah.
live your
Well,
life.
that was not really on my bucket list just yet. Maybe I might put
Now
it
it
on
is.
it someday. But
But
like
then
I
you
had.
got to meet that night.
I met Julie there, and she's originally from France, but she moved to Hawaii like a year ago,
Mhm.
and so I met up with her also to see the sunset, and then afterwards we went for some Mexican food, and like she was talking at a certain point about like a place that she was about to hike up,
Mhm.
called Coco Trail.
And lucky for you.
And no,
Lucky for us.
like thing is, I saw about Coco Trail
Mhm.
before, but like I didn't really think we should. I didn't really know how to get there because we didn't have a car those days. And she said like she was going the day after, because she walked it like the week before, and she said like we're doing this every week, since the week before.
Since last week.
Yeah, so that was kind of funny. But so she was planning that, and I mean, she said that she could pick me up or so to go there, but we didn't really
Mhm.
practically said like, okay, we're gonna do this, we're gonna plan this tomorrow. We didn't really plan something actually, so I knew, but I wasn't really sure if we were actually
it was
going to do it. So
And, like from the moment we got back to Oahu, I told Yuri, wow, Yuri, I did crazy amazing research on the interwebs. And there's like one place I really want to do, one more place I want to go, and it's Cocoa Head, and we should do it either at sunrise.
That was
I
just
mainly said sunrise, so
Yeah.
we looked to get a car, but it didn't work out
Nope.
with Turo, which is a very cool app, by the way. But then I got back from my crazy night. You got back from your date night, and we met around 5 because I
Well,
went
thing
reading
was,
at
like-
the
li-
beach before that.
Yeah, well, where you were back earlier, and the thing was, that's kind of strange if you don't know the rest, because my date ended pretty early, because she had to work the day after, so she couldn't really stay for too long. And because I was still alone at the Polynesian hostel where we were staying at again, but in a private room, I was like, yeah, I might just search, like, meet up with somebody else as well. Like, so I met up with somebody that I met online as well. And that was a very unique night as well. She had an amazing, that was Zoe. So shout out to Zoe as well. She has a very unique mindset that you really don't come across with every person. And like
What
it
we
was
say a millionaire's mindset.
yeah, apparently she was a multimillionaire. I was like, what is happening today? It's like so
It's going on, Zoe.
wow. She had a guitar, so I played some guitar with her as well. We talked
So,
about a lot of
he
stuff.
set up a second date that night with Zoe,
Well, it was
or
well,
like a meetup, or
yeah, just a meetup, let's say.
Mhm.
Because I stayed the night there, although nothing happened. We just had a lot of fun. I played the guitar. She played some music. She had a lot of cool stuff in that apartment as well. So I thought I had a good time there. And then the day after, I was trying to get back to our place. And yeah, she was about to call a taxi for me. Because like with my credit card issue, couldn't really book something. But there was not really anything available at that point in time. So I was about to search for something myself. But I just, after a while, I just gave up and I started walking back. And it was like an hour, 1.5 hours walking back. Like I had a good walk. So I was back at the hostel probably like around 3:30 a.m. p.m. Sorry, something like that. I don't know. You already had like lunch and
Yeah.
such.
I would like do another food truck.
Yeah.
Cool place.
And then you reminded me like didn't she say? Oh no, didn't I? Oh, we talked about the day before, and I think I mentioned something about Cocoa Trail that she
Yeah.
was about to go there, and you said like you can ask like if she could take us with her, and like I think like it's kind of
Cutting it late.
Cutting it
because it's
late,
already
but-
6-ish.
but I might try. So I sent, and yeah, she was okay. I can pick you guys up. So she picked us up, and she said like we're going to pick up a friend, and then we're going to the Cocoa Trail. So that's what we did. Her friend was called Pia, also a very fun girl. She's originally from Chile.
And you notice the Latin vibes immediately, fun Latin music in the car.
And again, we play Café con Leche
yes,
in the
it's
car.
back.
So we go to
that
Cocoa.
was afterwards because we first.
Yeah, it
to
was on the
figure
way
out-
back.
yeah.
So, but going there was to Cocoa Trail. We met up with a couple of other
Mhm.
friends of her, like.
Well, the crew that does the Cocoa Challenge every
Yeah, so they
for the
have
second
like.
week.
I think it was David.
Yeah, David.
His sister was
and
there from
Nico.
his sister from the Philippines that
Mhm.
was there, but she was going back the day after, I believe. I don't know. And Nico was there too. And so we went up Cocoa Trail, which is actually a very long staircase to the top. Very tiring.
Stairs on steroids, but for sure, like it's noted as a very easy hike.
Difficulty.
Yeah,
Difficulty.
the difficulty is rated very easy, kinda, but it's so exhausting. It's insane. It's like 20 minutes pure suffering. for
Yeah.
me. Because the website said it's easy. We were like,
Not prepared.
yeah, you only had water. I didn't even bring water.
again, I was on my flip-flops.
Yeah. So we were not in a like, and the people look at, are you gonna take all that stuff up? And we're like, sure. It's
Yeah, and they were impressed when we got to the top. Even when I was on the way back down, when I got down, I met those same guys in going up. It was like, you're still carrying the same bag. And we're like, yeah. They're like, oh my God, I'm impressed.
Yeah, because you had your drone and all the gear with you. But so worth it to start, like Coco Head.
It's a
Trail.
it's a cool one. Yeah.
Be mentally prepared. Is 20 minutes of suffering taking stairs. If you ever do it at a fitness, probably know how hard it is to do that for 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's not like even stairs all the way. It's like sometimes a bit more sketchy than other. Certainly in the going down, that was pretty
My front
sketchy.
view is just Yuri getting smaller, so he was going very fast. I was like, I will not let those other people be before me, so I will finish before them. And I did, sorry.
Yeah,
I
I stopped at a certain
But I
point
was-
during the hike as well to the top.
Jorim doesn't have water. I should feed him.
Yeah, but I mean, I took a sip of water too. Like, it was tiring for me as well. I just went quicker. But then at the top, we stayed there for a moment. It was a really nice sunset. Took a couple of pictures there. Went to the other side, actually, the behind the head, behind the crater. Which was a nice view as well, and was probably very nice if it was at sunrise, but it was at sunset right now. Then we returned back down, and it got almost
like when
dark
we all were
when we
up,
got back.
you kind of feel like, oh, this is not just a group of friends. Or
Oh
I had
yeah,
that
yeah,
feeling.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Like they had a certain kind of warmth.
They support
already.
each other.
Yeah, that was so cool already to notice and to be invited in the group.
Yeah,
And later on, you will just hear us talk about them inviting us more and including us more. And like that was the first time I noticed, like, oh, this is such a warm group, like being on top and how they joke, but how you feel it's like not a friend vibe, more a family vibe. That was so cool to notice already there.
And I said it before, like, I think also because, like, Julie and Pia also, like, they live there, but they don't have their actual family there.
Yeah.
So I think that's also part of why it's so, like, such a family feel. They just want to have, like, some people that they can have this feeling with. And so they integrate all these people in this group, and they meet a lot of people, and they have a lot of good, like, awesome relationships with these people.
But it's combined with just how they are and how warm and welcoming they are from the start, and that combination just
And
makes
they
it insane.
they said also, like, when they met each other too, like, usually when you meet up with people, like, you see them for a couple of days or whatever, but like with them, it's like you stay in touch and you stay friends for like a very long time, like afterwards. And we noticed this too, like we made like some group chats afterwards to like update, and we see them like every week doing these the Coco Head again. So a lot of fun to see that. We see each other's stories, comment on each other, so that's cool.
But let's first go back to the trail, and then we continue.
So when we got back down from the Coco Head, we decided to go for dinner together. So we went to, what was it, like Bigger Burger?
That's Teddy's Bigger Burger.
Teddy's Bigger Burger. Was it that? I don't remember. But it was very good.
Julie, if I'm wrong, I'm sorry.
Yeah, correct us.
Correct us.
But it was very good. Had a nice dinner there.
Also that, like, because they said we're gonna have burgers, but I didn't know, is this with us or not?
Yeah.
Right? I don't know.
Like, do they expect us to go back to
they
the
didn't
hostel?
even think to like ask. They were like, you guys she just drove there.
Yeah.
Yes, because I wanted really bad trying that burger. So
I mean, we had one close to our stay, but then
that's why I wanted to try them, because you see it every day and like, this might be good, and then I researched it again. Google is my friend. And it was like on the top of the burger thingies
of the suggestions. Yeah.
So I was like, this will be a good place. So if they welcome you just like, yeah, of course,
Of course.
Of course, you.
And, and that the thing was, we didn't even know, but that was not the end of that evening.
Mm.
So we afterwards we went to Hula's bar, which is like next to our place where we stay at. And we already noticed the days before that when we
a
passed
lot of lights and a lot of music.
no, so the days before when
If
we
you pass.
passed by, there were also like always some people like partying. You hear them like shouting. I'm like, it's a party all day long and all night long. So it sounded a lot like fun, like a lot of fun. So we went there and we had a lot of fun too.
Yeah.
So and we ordered some drinks and such. Like, and if you go to Hula's bar in Honolulu and Waikiki, you better if you like pineapple or cocos and you like cocktails, just order a pina colada. They're super good there. Perhaps it depends on the guy that's serving it, but that was one of the best pina coladas I've ever had. So yeah, that was really nice. We danced a lot as well, like Dancing Queen again. Nico didn't like that as much.
Sorry,
but it was a fun night nonetheless. But yeah, that was not the last day.
Did you think it would end there or not?
But we were talking. No, we because we did talk about them because we were about to go for a coffee in the morning where Pia did work. So we knew that it was not like the last time we would see them.
And because my coffee addiction, if they say I work at a cute coffee place, I have to see it.
Yeah, indeed. And also, for that breakfast, I went for donuts.
Oh yeah.
I went for donuts. And we also took them with us some time because when we went to the beach, we ate some donuts on the beach there as well. But we went to the place where Pia worked. We had a coffee, and then afterwards we went to the beach together. There we met up with Valentina.
Oh yeah,
another girl from that group, from that group of
cool
friends.
as well.
She's also from France, I believe. Yeah,
Paris. Paris.
Yeah. So we stayed for a while at the beach. Then we on the way back, like Julie was saying something about acai bowls, and I didn't really know what that was.
Well, first at the beach, she said something about cheesecake, and Valentina is a big fan. She was like, "Oh, because it's a cheesecake factory." I don't know if people know it, but it's like a famous brand, I feel, in America because it's a bigger brand. It's not just something local there. And she was like, "Oh, I wanted to try it for so long," and I'm like, we gonna go there. It's cheesecake. I love cheesecake. I have to try this as well. We go there. And then walking there, Julie said, actually, I feel more like acai bowl.
I didn't really know it was that way, but yeah, okay. Makes sense.
Talked about it to you
before.
Well, we go to the beach. So we first go to the Cheesecake Factory. You see labels on all the cheesecakes. It's like a piece of cheesecake. It's like 1,200 calories. So you feel very bad, but it's so good.
And that's something too that you notice in the United States a lot. A lot of the places where you go, they say the amount of calories that are in your food. Here in Europe, you never see that basically. So it's I mean, sometimes easier to count your calories that you're eating, but it's sometimes like sometimes you're blown away by, oh my god, so many calories in this,
especially for like a piece of cake.
A piece of cake.
Yeah.
Cake, yeah.
But then Valentina, is it Valentina or
Valentina? I think, yeah.
I'm not sure. Sorry girl. She was like, no, we just need to enjoy everything, and that's true,
Yeah. Well, and one of the
be
things,
mindful of the things you eat, but also don't hold yourself back to enjoy
that's true.
Life.
And one of the things as a result of that too is like when we went for this cheesecake, I didn't have a t-shirt with me or so. I just was there in my like swimming shorts.
Being a very Hawaiian boy.
Yeah, so and when we entered there, the one of the people that worked there was like, you cannot stay here if you don't have a shirt or whatever. I'm like, oh, it's okay, I'm gonna go like outside, and they were like, oh no, we're gonna join you. Like, we're not gonna stay in here if you cannot join us. Again, comes back to this feeling that they want to integrate you in this group of friends and family. So that was super nice of them, even though, I mean, I would have been fine either way. But they took the cheesecake all. You took the cheesecake all back out, and we went. We walked back until we were at one of these places where they made these acai bowls, and we ate one. And like, there were not a lot of things that I knew that I wanted to try in Hawaii for eating. The one thing that I knew of was like shave ice.
Mhm.
And I did try that. It's pretty unique. It's like this bowl of crushed ice where they like pour different kinds of syrup on it, and it's cool to do one time, and it's refreshing.
Try it
but-
once, see it if you like it.
But try it once and perhaps like a couple of times, but it's
It feels
not
a lot like the Calipo ice creams we have. It's water icy.
maybe like it's cool, but it's not like, oh my god, what have I tried right here?
Mhm.
And that's more of the feeling that I've got with these acai bowls. I enjoyed that really a lot, these acai bowls. It's because Julie was more like, I like to eat a bit of healthy sometimes.
Sometimes. Once a week. I started last week. No.
Um, so and that was one of these things, and I loved it. It was healthy but so tasty.
Yeah.
And you tried a bit of it, I think.
Yeah,
or-
Valentine let me taste a scoop of her. See, they're so friendly.
Yeah, I tried to make one when we got back in Belgium. Then afterwards as well, it was not the same. Although I enjoyed it a lot as well.
Should have made one today. Ah,
Another reason to
yeah, come
get
on.
back together, right? So that was really nice. And
Then we
then
did a,
afterwards we
sunset first.
well, the thing was, we were about to go back to our place for a moment, and we met up again in the evening.
No, we did first the sunset, played some music. That's that night.
Wait, what? I'm having a blackout right now.
So we did the ball. It was.
Oh
then
yeah,
we
yeah,
did-
yeah. Sorry,
because,
yeah. We
like,
were sitting.
If you're in Hawaii, you have to hit every sunset you can do.
Exactly. Well, I forgot the song that was playing again.
It was French. But you
Oh,
played-
ooh, appetitou, appetitou, appetitois. That was the one. Yeah, I remember. Playing some music on the grassland just above the beach. Oh yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, and then we decided to meet up in the evening.
one last,
Karaoke.
the last song of Hawaii.
So we wanted to do another karaoke that night, and was it Julie that looked for the place? I don't remember. Yeah, whatever. So
But she first took us. a
well,
hotel.
we first met up again, like just next to our accommodation, and we walked towards the bar that we were going to do the karaoke at. But indeed, like, Julie took us to some hotels there that had some nice views, a swimming pool and such, where you just could enter, but it's not to stay in. It's just for having a good view on these luxury places too. And then afterwards we arrived at the bar, and Pia got there a bit later than us. So we were already there. Like, it was a cool bar. It's like a gay bar, but
It's karaoke.
it's
Yeah.
karaoke, so who cares? And like, you could do requests for songs, but I was actually the only one that was able to do a request, because the line was too long of songs that were requested, and they were
like,
only
different to
open.
Belgium, yeah, it closes at 1, and they do close when
It was 2, I believe.
or 2. Yeah.
Yeah, but like a lot of places don't stay open until like 4 or 5 a.m. Like what is the case sometimes in Belgium. That's not the same at all. But So I was the only one that was able to sing a song there. It was nice. Um,
But we sung along with all the others. So that was cool.
yeah,
you know?
yeah, but that's the thing. Like in a lot of karaoke, a lot of the songs you know, and you try to sing along, even though like there's
You
only
make
one
fun
person
together
that
and,
yeah,
it was such
yeah,
a good fight then.
exactly. And then we had a lot of fun, and then afterwards, we went back, like towards our stay, but stayed along the beach there. Went for the pier
Mhm.
and stayed there
skinny
for a
dipping.
while. No skinny dipping. No, no, no. We stayed there for a while, and it was like very like chill, cozy. And at a certain point, like some guys, some workers from the beach, I don't know, came to say that we were not allowed to stay there on the beach. So we're like, oh, that's a bummer. It was like it was cool to be
Yeah.
here.
Because
And
like you said, like in the beginning, it's cool to end your
again,
stays with like good conversations with people you met and you
Again,
create extra connections with, and that's so fun.
yeah, and we knew this was the last night because the day
Mhm.
after we returned back to Belgium. So, and then we walked back, and just before going to our hostel, we hugged each other, like said goodbye.
She hugged you pretty long.
Oh, we hugged
Julie.
for a while, and thing was like initially, of course, Julie and I had this date, and like we had a good connection,
Mhm.
right? So and when we
And it built it up. If I can
yeah,
say that.
because we had like a lot of opportunities too. Like we
Mhm.
saw each other basically those 3 full days.
Mhm.
And when we got back to our room, I sent her a text message to say like, thank you so much. It was such a nice experience
Mhm.
meeting you guys. I had so much fun. And I don't remember exactly. I should look up the message, but yeah, the thing was like it was so much fun to meet them. And she was like, she sent it back right away, like, yeah, me too. And do you want to spend some more time with me? And I was like, yeah, actually I do. So and she was back at the corner there on the corner of the street, and I was like, yeah, let's just go. So I went with her to her place, stayed the night there, and she was about to drive me back to the hostel in the morning. I was like very thankful because I was like, damn, I have to get up early. Are you sure you want this? Because like we went to bed, like it was already pretty late. Can you imagine, like after the bar closes at 2 a.m., we go to the beach, sit there for a while.
Mhm.
If we're back at the hostel, it was like almost 3, I think. And then I go back to her place, and what time when did we went to sleep? Like I think 4 a.m. And I think we all only had like 3 hours to sleep,
Mhm.
or not even. I don't remember. And she did manage to do it. So thank you so much, Julie. That was really kind of you. And she drove me back, and like the one of the hotels next to our next to the Polynesian hostel was a cool hotel, but I hadn't been in there. And she said like, oh, we can go for breakfast on the top of this hotel. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, why not? Sure. And they also has acai bowls there,
There we
so
go.
I was super happy. We had a nice view. There was a swimming pool, almost no people yet there because we were so early. And we had a super nice breakfast there. And then afterwards we said goodbye, and then I came back to the room and we took our taxi back.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
yeah, I do have to say, Julie, Pia, Valentin,
Nico,
even David
David, I
and Nico,
mean,
you guys are such amazing people. So heartwarming for us. You made the last days on the island like a very
memorable.
special, family-like. Maybe for you, not family-like.
Yeah, I
But like
mean,
so special moments. And I remember telling Pia as well, you have like cool visions for the future, so keep following them. And I know you can. I say it one more time because I know you should manifest it really, and I know you will do amazing things. And I wanted to share that one more time. And Julie, your spirit, the way you are, I saw Yuri lighting up when you guys were together.
Yeah,
That was
yeah,
cool
yeah.
to see as well. So I know he just loved the time you guys spent together, and that's so cool to witness. So I'm so happy you guys shared those moments with us, and you invited us, and you were all so warm and so
And
welcoming.
open-minded,
Mhm.
like, yeah, you don't agree on everything, but just like being open to someone else's vision, thoughts, and such.
Mhm.
We had so much fun. Like, we made some fun with each other, about each other too. Like, the
Sorry
accents,
for all
the accents that we have, that
the
they
jokes
have,
about
and
the language.
I mean, it was just funny, right?
Yeah.
So it's all in good terms. Yeah, it was so much fun to spend these last days there that way. So then we just have the flight back to Belgium,
And only one more cool person we met,
and it was Cage.
Kesh. Yeah. From the moment we walked in, it's always scary if there's one person next to you because you never know.
Yeah, well, to paint a picture. So you have a row of 3 seats next to each
Mhm.
other. Jorim, me, and then one other seat, and
You
just
never
happens.
know who it will be.
Yeah, you never know. So there's a girl that is coming and sitting next to me. So
Very cool style.
yeah, and she
First
looked
thing I noticed.
and she looked kind of Asian
Yep.
to me. So and we noticed like there were like almost no people on the plane, on the airplane, and that was actually the longest flight, because that was actually from LA to London.
Yep.
So the flight from Honolulu to LA was not really that special, but I mean, from LA to London, that was the longest flight, and there were almost no people there on the flight. But the 3 of us were just happening to sit
Next to
together.
each other, yeah.
So I started talking, and apparently she's originally from the Philippines,
Mhm.
and I've been to the Philippines, so I started talking about the Philippines, where I've been before, and she was saying that she was going to a Taylor Swift concert there. So
And
that's
still
probably
crazy, girl. Come on.
that's
Flights
crazy,
10 hours for a
because she
just for one
lives
concert.
in London, and she came all the way to LA for a concert of Taylor Swift. So definitely a Swiftie in that, and I
And
think that's
dedication.
definitely something that I can point out for YouTube as well, because I have some reactions to Taylor Swift that I still have to post on YouTube. So we were talking a bit about that, but that was kind of crazy. We added each other on Instagram, you too, as well. So, and then a bit later on, one of the staff members of the on the airplane came to say, like, guys, because there's so much space, like, you can feel free to sit somewhere else that you have
Yeah.
more space. And we're like, oh my god, this is.
We each had a
We're
row
lucky.
of our own.
And yeah,
Never
we
had so much space in a plane.
we
ever.
had like you said, a full row to ourselves. And the thing is, with these international flights, with these long flights, every seat has like a blanket and a pillow and some like earbuds to listen music to. So the thing is, because there's so little people there, you have a whole row to yourself. We each had 3 seats, so that meant we had 3 blankets and 3 pillows too. So, I mean, that's the most comfortable flight I've ever had for
Crazy.
10 and a half
And
hours.
I think that's one of the reasons why our jet lag was okayish.
Probably. Yeah, it could probably be one of the reasons too. Yeah, I mean, and then the flight from London to Brussels, I mean, that's not even noteworthy. It's just 1 hour. But yeah, that was the whole trip to Hawaii.
We
Phew.
made it.
Man, that's the longest one so far.
It's 3 hours.
3 hours and a half.
I think the other one was longer, but I'm not sure actually.
No,
It
no,
was
it's
2 hours and 40.
We're busy like 3.5 hours right now.
Oh, because I'm looking there.
Here.
Oh,
It's midnight.
crap. So yeah, thanks for sticking with us if you stayed as long.
Yeah.
Is there something you want to share to someone we met that you still want to say? Because I did a lot of them.
Man,
at the end,
I am
but
just so thankful for all these amazing people that we've met. The kindness, the open minds of all these people. I don't know. It's just we had such an amazing time with all of them, and it doesn't really happen all of the times that when we travel that we have actual connections afterwards and stay connected. I'm not one of the people that is very good at staying in touch all of the time, even with like best friends. Like sometimes it happens that you don't hear me for like weeks or for even longer. So the fact that we still have like contact with these people is says something, right? So I'm very thankful just for everybody that we've met, and most of all of you for being my travel buddy always.
With pleasure,
We had some amazing experiences, and it's not the last, for sure.
No. If you can handle other 3-hour long podcasts.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been a while since we've been there. How do you look back on it? Not talking 3 hours now, but
like going
like the whole
when we
experience?
returned, it was like a bit of a double feeling, because we have not really talked about all the issues that we've got on the travel, but it's a good thing, because on the moment that we got back, there were a lot of like frustrations that we got, but luckily for all the good people that we've met and the great places that we've seen, it compensated for that. Because otherwise, if you're stuck in that same feeling of frustration, it can ruin your journey. Which, I mean, we know better, and we know to make the best out of it. But if something happens, just know that there's a solution for everything that you stumble upon. So I think as a general, it's a total package. We had a lot of good luck, a lot of bad luck, met a lot of good people, saw a lot of nature, had a lot of good weather, a lot of rain, but I mean, it was actually, again, a total package, I think.
Yeah, it's something you only probably will see once in your life, but it will add to your culture. It's cool to say as well. I've been to Hawaii. It's a lot of people their dreams.
It is.
But if you do it like we do it, because I see a lot of people doing it just for your wedding, and even if you do it for your wedding, do include Kauai for sure. It's just this amazing.
This is the place in Hawaii.
And like there was one couple on the catamaran that we didn't talk about, and
Yeah.
they did it for their wedding, and she actually told, hey, we should do the catamaran. So don't say it just as your wedding, but also try to do the adventurous things, because Kauai is such a joy, and other places in Hawaii as well. If you want information from us, if you want tips, don't ever be afraid to contact us. Yuri, you can reach through Instagram at YB Plays Music, or at his YouTube,
of course.
Also YB Plays Music.
Also YB Plays
Or
Music.
Yuri Bart on Facebook. Me, you can find at Jorim Delaere Portraits, or at The Legend of Jorim on Instagram.
Yeah, for the people watching on YouTube, the links will be in the description down below as well.
So don't be afraid. We're always happy to share, or like you noticed. After 3 hours, we're always super happy to share what we experienced, what we found very cool to do.
And also this whole podcast will be listenable on Spotify. The link is also in the description down below for the people on YouTube here. We'll see. I don't know if you'll cut up some parts afterwards. We'll see. I'll probably do that.
The intro.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, but I'll probably do that, so it's a bit easier for the people to watch. Yes. Yeah. So
thanks to everyone we met. Like we said before, we're super grateful for any one of you. You always will have a special place in my heart, I'm sure.
Same here. Same here
as well. Thanks for all the memories you gave me once again. 3 weeks of experiences that I will never forget.
Same here.
Thank you all for listening. There will be a next Jorim and Company. I just don't know when.
We'll see what the next adventure will be. But
but you know it by now. It's unexpected when they will drop, but there will come some.
Exactly.
Thanks a lot, and till the next time.
And I will just do my outro, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share the video. Not to me only, but also to Jorim. Yeah, that's all. Thank you so much for watching, and see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.
best.